Hey, what's up? And welcome to QnCOLB. Now on Spotify. Yes, we finally got the show on Spotify for the people. So that's gonna be something that's dope for y'all. So, maybe that's how we satisfy our audio listeners is by actually giving them an audio product. So super happy to have the show on Spotify. But we have a jam-packed show to talk about. We got the Super Bowl to talk about. We got to talk about what this means for both teams in the Super Bowl. We got to talk about that halftime show. We got to talk about people losing their damn mind on social media. we go Yep. And we're going to also talk about the Browns getting all them awards and people kind of hating on the Browns getting all them awards. We talk about you, TJ Watt. So all of that and more. But we're going to start with the Super Bowl. And I thought this was a pretty damning Super Bowl for the 49ers. The reason I thought this is because the Kansas City Chiefs had no business winning this game. Think about when you go back and watch that game, think about how much easier it was for the 49ers to move the ball all game. Their average of difficulty to get like a chunk play much easier than Kansas City. Kansas City had to run Pat Mahomes to get chunk plays at this time. They were able to run the ball effectively. They were able to throw the ball effectively. Jennings was about to win Super Bowl MVP. They were dominating on both lines of scrimmages for most of this game. And they lost. Now, everything didn't go perfect for the 49ers. They had the weirdest flare-up of non-contact injuries I had ever seen. Right? Dre Greenlaw, I think in the second drive, ruptures his Achilles.
Ruptures his Achilles when he's about to run on the field to get ready to start the drive. Ruptured his Achilles.
And I said this for a while, right? Because everybody was doing this whole turf versus natural grass debate. And I think arguing about it happening in the NFL is kind of pointless. Because all of that wear and tear that makes it so that your Achilles can just pop at whatever age that Dre Greenlaw is happens in college and high school when you're going to be playing on turf fields no matter what, right? That's the issue is that you're playing on turf all the way up and the playing surfaces just aren't that nice. And honestly, the issue is that football is just a very physical game and your body's going to break down no matter what you do because it's just dangerous to play. But yeah, so that non-contact injury for Dre Greenlaw pops up. Wild, right? And then Debo went out. George Kittle missed some time there. And it didn't matter that George Kittle missed any time because it wasn't like they were interested in getting him the damn ball, right? I think he got one target in that entire game. Hey man, I didn't know George Kittle was playing until he ran to the locker room. Oh shit! I forgot they got one of the best tight ends in football.
No, you know what I knew? Because immediately after he ran out, the very next play, whoever the backup tight end was got called for a holding penalty. It was and then they were back 10 yards and to start the drive. I was like, oh yeah, they need Kittle, even if he's not getting the ball.
Yes. So George Kittle, all of that. A lot of conversation about Brock Purdy. I don't understand people's need to fluctuate wildly on Brock Purdy, right? I feel like people get too high on Brock, which forces people to get too low on Brock. And to me, Brock Purdy is in that same realm of quarterback that Matt Stafford was when he won it. He is a above average quarterback that if things go right for him, he can win. But you know what one of those things going right has to be, Cove?
What is it?
Not playing Pat Mahomes. Okay? There's just a list of quarterbacks out here who I'm like, hey, you not winning it as long as Pat there. Because what happened in this game is what happens in every Chiefs game in the playoffs. You cannot let the Chiefs hang around. That's easier said than done. They have an elite defense. Did you see McDuffie out there?
Mm-hmm. That's why he was first team All-Pro. That's why he was first team All-Pro. heard that.
Yeah,
We heard that.
wasn't people mad that like McDuffie wasn't in the conversation, but Deron Bland was or something? Was that the big debate? Yeah. Twitter won that one. Yeah, that was McDuffie deserved to be in there. What's up, Greg?
We got a super chat about this actually from Ray Rags, where he says, whether or not Novastone likes it, Pat Mahomes is at that Brady level of I'm not betting against him till I see him lose multiple times a row.
Yeah, he's there officially. He's there officially now.
You would have known this.
Hey, I heard you say it. Yeah, you said it. But when Nate Burleson said it, it really drove it home for me.
Why Nate Burleson got to say it? Why can't Quincy say it? Wait, Quincy been saying this shit for 2 years. For 2 years. I've been sitting here telling you motherfuckers, oh yeah, it's Pat. Why are we acting like, what was my exact quote? We are out here talking about the Chiefs being, Michael Jordan being easy to beat because Scottie Pippen ain't got a great shooting percentage. Are you kidding me? And what happened?
Can I finish my point? Can I finish my point?
Nate Burleson. That's you like, you know what? It ain't real till Nate say it. That's crazy.
I just wanted to say, Nate Burleson said, I'm never gonna bet against him again in my life. And I was like, you know what? I'm there.
Got to that point. When he won that championship last year, I was like, that was it. That's what we do, dog. That's what we do. Everybody thought they were done. They had traded Tyreek. We were like, is this a soft rebuke for the Chiefs? And then just what? I'm like, nah, it's Pat. That's the best dude out. Right?
Man.
Why?
The passes he was making to that pass he made to McCole Hardman, the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
When he made, I was like, okay, yeah.
Oh, it just no room for that to be dropped.
I was like, I lost.
No room.
I was like, it's not like it was one thing for him to make those passes to Tariq. He doing it with McCole Hardman, bro. I was like, yeah, man, it's over. He's the best. He's the best out. I can't.
Yeah, he made that throw. I was like, that's the best I've ever seen. Like, I know he doesn't have Tom Brady's accomplishments, but I don't need him to get 7 championships for me to think that that's the best quarterback I've ever seen in my life. Okay? I see it. Okay? Peak for peak. I'm taking Pat. Okay? Tom Brady's peak, he had Randy Moss at the peak of his powers, and he threw 36 touchdowns and went undefeated. That's dope. Pat Mahomes had 50 in the second year of his career, which was really his first, with 5,000 of them passing yards. I know people go debate it, all this stuff. I don't care. That's it. Pat's the greatest. Like, that's my GOAT. Okay. I watched both of them play. Tom never felt like that. Okay. Like,
man, I couldn't believe it, bro. I'm like, he is about to win another. He goes back to back with Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who, by the way, tried his hardest to stall that game-winning drive.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe when he reestablished himself for forward progress.
I
was watching that live, and I was with my lady's family, and I was like, I saw him catch it, and immediately I was like, stop fucking moving. Like, stop moving. You have to step. That is my number one pet peeve of wide receivers that do it in the NFL. And Marquez Valdez-Scantling been in the league forever. So, like, no reason he made this excuse trying to make a play. You're not the playmaker. I feel like that's the speech that the Chiefs need to just hammer down when you come to Kansas City, you play wide receiver. You ain't supposed to be great, baby. Pat great. Okay? Just catch it when Pat get it to you. We not asking you to dive. We not asking you to move and catch it. We not asking you to get no yak unless you Travis Kelce. Just get what Pat get you.
You know what I'm saying? You know what bothered me about it? I was like, if that's Rashee Rice, I'd be like, okay, you at least do that sometimes. You know what I'm saying? He makes something happen. He makes some yak happen sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So I would have been more receptive to Rashee Rice doing that. You, dog, you turned a 7-yard gain into a 4-yard loss when we trying to win the game. After you've been dropping the ball all season, dropped a game-winning touchdown against the Bills, you know what I'm saying? You, at this point, you should know better. I'm just going to catch this ball. I'm going to go down.
This is
I get it.
how I know Pat Mahomes is the GOAT. After Marquez Valdez-Scantling dropped that ball, what did he say to the media? What did he say to the media? Do you remember this quote?
Just say the quote because I know you want to say the quote.
I just got to make sure I get it to him better. But Bonnie Jones made a great point where he was like, look, man, there are situations where some people have never seen that man do better, but they've seen you do better. So you just got to be the one to do better. That's what he did.
Man, I couldn't believe it. He said that. I ain't believe him when he said it. I was like, man, these wide receivers are terrible. There's no way you're going to overcome this. And he did it. That's
how good he is. He's like, look, man, the wide receivers catching the ball is a factor of me doing my job. That's how good he is at his job. It's like, yeah, man, it don't matter. They're not good. Look, he had a bad wide receiver core last year when he won it. They're worse this year. It doesn't matter. Okay? It just doesn't matter.
Real quick, Kishan Patel in the comments said, I got to stand on that. I'm not scared of the Chiefs this year. Hey, look, man, I stand on it. I stand on that. I stand on that. I was wrong. It happens.
Yeah. Look, the real question is, will you have that take in 2025? Are you going? Because look, the same shit's gonna happen. They're gonna have a rough year, and people are gonna be like, "Well, you know how hard it is to win 3 championships in a row. This just might be the year where the Chiefs implode. Look, it's gonna look real good. It's gonna seem real appetizing. And every year, I'll be like, nah.
I disagree. It's not going to look rough. It's not going to look. They're not going to look as bad as they look this year, next year. I guarantee it. They're not going to look that bad. They're not going to look that bad. They're going to look exactly how the Chiefs supposed to look next year because they know the receivers aren't good enough and they're going to fix it. This is the worst they're going to be in this run.
Where do you put
the year to knock them off? And they didn't.
Where do you put Brock Purdy in this conversation of quarterbacks? Because I think we put him as a face card. Or a low spade?
Yeah, I think we put him as a low spade.
I think that's fair. Like low spade to me is fair.
We put him as a low spade, but we're going to talk about it. But go ahead, Greg, because I know we got super chats.
Yeah, this is perfect time to bring this one up from Big Kev 9539, where he said, yeah, this ain't on Brock Purdy at all. And I'll let you guys.
I don't know if it ain't on Brock Purdy at all, but Brock Purdy didn't make no big mistake. Like Jalen Hurts made the big mistake last year, right? Against Pat
that's why they lost because Jalen Hurts made that one. And all he did was make one mistake. That's all.
But look, Brock Purdy also got to the red zone like 7 times, got like 2 touchdowns, right? Like that.
Can we be honest about something? Because we're going to blame Brock.
I don't know but I'm not going to blame Brock, but I'm saying. Brock is a low spade, which means you can't expect him to score every time in those situations against a great defense. And that's just the limitations of Brock Purdy, right? Like you getting to the red zone and not being able to score. That could be on Kyle Shanahan. That could be on everything else. But if Brock Purdy were a better quarterback, like, for example, if that same thing happened to Lamar, we'd be blaming Lamar. But the fact that we don't blame Brock Purdy tells us everything that we think about Brock Purdy for real, which is we don't think he's that good. Like we think he's good, but we don't think he's great. Like he's one of the great quarterbacks in the NFL because like there was a play where he had Deebo Samuel wide open on, I believe it was a corner route. And he got hit while he threw it. And this told me everything that everybody believes about Brock Purdy because he got hit while he threw it. The ball was off. He missed the throw. No touchdown. Since it's Brock Purdy, we're talking about, well, it's a tough throw. He got hit as he threw it. Damn, it stinks. If that were a better quarterback, hey, man, I know that's a tough play to make. But those are the plays that you have to make if you're the guy, right? Like, that's the difference. We don't actually think that of Brock Purdy. And not to say that Brock Purdy can't get there eventually. I think he showed a lot about his ability to take over a game, especially versus Detroit. But when it comes to that, oh, no, baby. Like, Pat Mahomes missed that throw. We talking about it. Yeah, it's a tough throw, but that's the kind of throw you expect Pat to make in those situations. And he not Pat. But Lamar, you would expect that. Josh Allen, you would expect that. All of these guys that we put, Joe Burrow, you would expect that. So all of these guys that we put in the upper echelon conversation, the guys that we call face aces, they are expected to make that throw. Brock Purdy missed that throw. We ain't even talking about that shit. Right? Like,
if you listen to the post game, so what some of the Chiefs players did, this let me know everything I need to know. Also proved that Cam Newton was right. Is that what was the game plan? I was always like, oh, we know they love to run the ball, so we were just trying to make it so Brock threw the ball as much as possible. We just wanted Brock to throw the ball. That's all we wanted. I'm like, you don't say that about a quarterback. That's that. Nobody says, yeah, we want Josh Allen to throw the ball. Nobody says that. Nobody on the defense says that. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
we want Josh. Not when he's on. Not when you don't want that. When he's
Here's the difference. They wanted the game in Brock Purdy's hand. They felt like that was their best chance to win, is that the game was in Brock Purdy's hands. You wouldn't say that about Josh Allen, that you don't want the game to be in Josh Allen's hands, because that includes Josh Allen running it. Now, if you can get Josh Allen to 3 rushing attempts, 45 pass attempts, I might not be mad at that.
It depends on what version of Josh we get.
But you don't want to put, you could, right?
You get like you turnover Josh, or you could get Josh that's gonna cook you in those 45 passes.
Yes, but the odds are higher if he's throwing a lot more than he's running. You don't want to put the game in Josh Allen's hands, because Josh Allen is a dynamic player. But like with Brock Purdy, it's like, that's not who you're worried about taking over. You're worried about that offensive line and Christian McCaffrey taking over when you play the San Francisco 49ers. And this is not a slight to Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy is a pretty good quarterback. He's a Pro Bowl quarterback. He's a quarterback that you could win a championship with if Pat Mahomes don't exist, right? He is who in the 90s? He John Stockton. That's who he is. Right? John Stockton's cool. I mean, like, on the court. Like, he was a good player. Like, you know, him and Carl Malone, a good tandem.
Honestly, I don't even think John Stockton's a good comparison for him.
Who you think's a good comp? Like, let's stay to the 90s comps. Well, I know. Let's stay to the 90s comps.
90s comps?
Like, who could have got a ring if Jordan didn't exist?
Oh, okay. I see where you go.
Yes.
I see.
Like, in a world where Jordan is not there, like Clyde Drexler, right? Probably would have had a more decorated career if it's not for Michael Jordan. But he ended up getting 2 with Hakeem, right? So
I think Josh Allen might be Clyde in this scenario.
Yeah. But there are players like that. There are teams like that where I'm like the Sonics, right? We're like, hey man, GP. If it weren't for Mike, like, you might do something.
He got him one eveventually. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He was not the glove at that point. He was the bench. Okay, so, like, you know, Brock Purdy is definitely a Super Bowl caliber quarterback in a world where a dude like Pat's not there, standing in your way. Like, if there were an upset, it's like, let's say it's CJ Stroud in the 49ers, or Deshaun Watson versus the 49ers, or even Joe Burrow against the 49ers, or Lamar Jackson versus 49ers. Brock Purdy is good enough to win against those guys. He just ain't even close to being near Pat. And that's just what it is. And that's the problem the NFC has, is that all them dudes close to Pat that could knock Pat off, they not in the NFC. Because the same thing happened with Jalen Hurts, where it's like, yeah, man, at some point, him being Jalen Hurts matters, right? Like, at some point, it does. Like, same thing with Brock. At some point, it matters that your quarterback can't make a throw through contact. It matters that your quarterback can't make that play, right? It matters that you get a field goal 2 times instead of touchdowns to end the game, because, well, that's just what you got. It matters. And that's the thing. As long as Pat's there, it matters. So that's if you're an AFC team, I think is actually good news for you, because all the teams that could eliminate Pat are in the AFC, which means the chances of you not having to go through Pat are tremendous. Okay. Like, and that's what it is. I said this at the beginning of the playoffs. You definitely ain't trying to play Pat. Like, you definitely feel much better if Pat Mahomes gets eliminated. And he now has that same feeling that we had with the Golden State Warriors. That the second the Golden State Warriors got eliminated, I don't even know if that happened, right? Because 2019 was their last, 2022, they weren't really like the same Warriors, but like the KD Warriors, when KD went down, all of a sudden somebody else can win the championship. Or for my FCS football fans, when North Dakota State got eliminated in the playoffs, you're like, oh shit, somebody else can win it, right? Or any other dominant dynasty is like, okay, you get excited when they get eliminated because you know anybody could win it now. But as long as Pat up there, it's going to take some crazy circumstances. You can't make no mistakes.
Nope.
They can make all the mistakes in the world. Pat threw an interception. Didn't matter.
It was a bad interception too. Bad interception. They didn't score.
Here's the thing that was slept on all year. We talked so much about what he didn't have at wide receiver. We really didn't talk about how good that damn defense is. The Kansas City Chiefs had. And we didn't once stop to think. We out here thinking that off the strength of a good defense, Joe Flacco might make a run. Right? This is how silly we get. We were thinking like off the strength of a great defense, Joe Flacco might make a run with an injury-riddled Browns team. That was not just a Cleveland take, by the way. People nationally were saying this, right? Was it Pro Football Talk about this being the biggest threat to the Baltimore Ravens? We just was like, yeah, man, it's Baltimore, right? All this stuff, right? About how good a good defense could carry the Browns. We never once thought to ourselves, hey, man, if we think Joe Flacco could make a run with the good defense, what the fuck we think is possible with Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs? But no, we was worried about Marquez Valdez-Scantling. We out here worried about Tony Kukoc when they got Jordan. Okay? We out here worried about Luke Longley when they got Jordan. Come on, man.
How did we get a Tony Kukoc reference in here?
we out here like, man, we don't got a good matchup for Tony Kukoc. Who gives a fuck? They got Mike. They got Mike. They got Mike, dog. Mike. Oh, Mike Wack. Good super chat. Mike Wack just saw it. Josh Allen is Mark Price.
Ooh, I like that. Josh Allen is Mark Price. He's Mark Price.
Look. They don't win as far as they could go with Jordan, and now it's about to get sad. Okay.
Hey, it's crazy you said that. I'm gonna be real. I don't know if any 49ers fans watch us, but speaking of getting sad, your team about to get sad because you can't keep all them dudes. You can't keep everybody.
And that's the thing. Remember how people used to complain about, oh, you can't pay a quarterback more than 12% or something of the salary cap, or else you're doomed. Well, Pat don't want it 2 times off 17%. It don't matter who coming back for the Chiefs. They got Pat. Pat coming back. They good, dog. They good. Pat will, look, at some point, Pat was like, backpack. I'm about to start running. Okay.
The read option play that went for like 20 yards. I was like, it's all year, dog.
I was like, yeah, man. Yeah. Look, here's the thing. Pat not mobile, but when he run, he sure do get 40 every time, man. Like his yards per average got to be crazy.
You know, somebody said Pat runs the fastest 4.8 40 I ever seen in my life.
Game speed, baby. Game speed.
Ooh.
Game speed. People was convinced that Travis Kelce was cooked. I'm like, he'll figure out what he needs to do. He'll figure it out. And look,
man.
For that first half, the 49ers was feeling good. I could tell right now by the look at every single one of these eyes, especially Brock Purdy in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
They started to realize. They didn't know, but they started to realize, yo, it's the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl, and we in a close game with Pat Mahomes.
No, they knew. They 100% knew.
Every
time they put the camera on them, I was like, oh yeah, those are men who know they're about to lose a football game.
The only person I'm convinced didn't know is Christian McCaffrey because apparently he was crying after they made that field goal.
No, that means he definitely knew. He definitely knew. He knew we needed a touchdown.
It was tears of
And
sadness.
we needed a touchdown. We got a field goal. We about to fucking lose, dog. We about to fucking lose. If you saw him and Debo on the sideline, you knew that they knew they were about to lose because they kicked a field goal and didn't score a touchdown. They were about to lose. You can tell.
Too many field goals. Look, we was talking about Moody too much. I was like, you're not going to beat him like this. This is not how you beat the Chiefs.
Low key. He kind of smoked it a little. Hey, when they blocked that extra point, I was like, oh yeah. I was like, that matters. That matters now. They needed that 1 point. They needed that 1 point, and it might have been enough to get it done in regulation. But when they blocked it, I was like, ooh.
No, because then Pat would have been like, well, now I need a touchdown. And he was going to get that touchdown because the 49ers fucked themselves over in that last drive by how they came out and played it. And nothing about how that went down tells me they would have played that differently. They were dominating the line of scrimmage all game, completely dominating them. And then in the last drive, with Pat Mahomes having the ball for 2 minutes, you know what they decide, Cole? Anything you want in front of us. Yeah, Pat, get in rhythm. Yeah, Pat, go ahead and execute. Make a 10-yard pass, 12-yard. We gonna give you all this underneath.
I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yep.
4 plays, there was a field goal range. I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
You know what, man? Live or die. And like, I'm never one that's gonna be mad about blitzing. Like, I'm never gonna be one to be like, well, you could have played it safer there. Nah. Live how you live, and that's what happened with the 49ers.
That's what Spags did, though.
He said, "Fuck it." That's Brock. I'm not worried. Like,
hey, if he beat us, he beat us. It is what it is.
Hey, I'm fine with that. You know what I mean?
I sleep well with that.
Steve Wilkes started getting real Steve Wilkesy, where he's like, whoa, well, I don't want to fuck this up, man. Like, you're not about to beat Pat, worried about fucking up, man. Like,
he was calling a hell of a game until that last drive.
Mm-hmm. Then he started shaking his play sheet. He was like, it's Pat. Oh my God, that's Pat. There is 2 minutes left, and Pat has the ball. I don't want him to get a big play here. Yeah, so just let him throw to Travis Kelce and get warmed up and see how that works out for you if he gets to overtime. Like, you literally were like, I'm okay with going to overtime with Pat Mahomes? Are you stupid? Honest to God. If there's a situation where I could go for two and win the game, or overtime in that situation, I'm going for 2 because why stress my fans out more than they need to, right? Either I get it on this 2-point conversion and we win this fucking game, or we wait 20 more minutes to lose in overtime. This Pat we talking about, man. Come on. See, they would have, if the San Francisco 49ers would have listened to your boy and understood it's Pat, maybe they play that situation differently. But I would be like, you know what, dog? If he beats us on the blitz, he beats us. But fuck it. We sending Nick Bosa at him, right? Like, Nick Bosa.
Hell of a game. Hell of a
game,
too. He's had a hell of a game.
Nick Bosa was balling. And then you just decide you gonna mush 4? That's crazy. That look, that's the thing about Pat Mahomes, man. He's in your head before you even play the game. Like,
we saw it with the Ravens. We saw it with the Ravens, though.
We saw this all playoff, right? Because everybody has different approaches. So the Bills, they played Pat Mahomes. They got a little bit of a lead. And they're like, all right, we're going to play as conservatively as possible. And we're going to sit on this lead. And then Pat started inching back. And then it was like, oh, shit, let's be aggressive. Let's run a fake punt. Right? Pat got him panicking. And then Baltimore, they got that little lead on Pat. And they was like, well, we can't just sit here with these points. We got to dominate. We got to get some big plays going. Lamar Jackson will hold that ball for 45 seconds trying to get a damn big play going. When
they could have just ran the ball the entire time. Should have just ran the ball the whole game.
But guess what, man? It's Pat. They not going to feel comfortable running that ball. Why? It's Pat. And look, we can talk all the live long shit about it. It done happened to us twice. All right. We got it's padded in 2020, and Pat wasn't even on the field for the whole fourth quarter.
Man, I was pissed. We ain't got to talk about that. We'll talk about the Browns later.
We got it's padded in 2020. And then 2021 came around. We got it's padded again. Like
very first game.
We got that lead. All of a sudden, we realize, yo, that's Pat Mahomes, and we up by 20. And what happened? The punter get lemon booty, drop the punt. Like, it's Pat. That's why he's to that level, dog. He a boogeyman.
We gotta talk about it. Every single game, when somebody play the Chiefs, the opposing team always does some dumbass shit to let them back in the fucking game every single time. Ravens game. What's his name? I can't even remember his name now. When he fumbled when it was a touchback, he fumbled it. Zay Flowers.
Oh, Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers. Fumbles in the end zone, touchback. You say had an opportunity to make the game.
The Bills did it for DeMar.
Bills. The DeMar Hamlin fake punt, just dumbass shit. And in this game, the punt return, the kick return. No, it was a punt, wasn't it? Yeah, punt return. Dude, his own teammate kicks the ball. I actually wasn't mad at McLeod because he did the right thing because his dumbass teammate, his foot touched the ball. So he had to try to scoop it up. Doesn't get it. Chiefs get the ball back, immediately scored in the very next play. Some dumbass shit always happens that goes in their favor. It's just, I can't get mad at it. It just is.
When you worried about, because look, everybody goes in to play Pat Mahomes and you know it. You can't fuck up.
Can't fuck up.
But you know what makes you more likely to fuck up? Worrying about fucking up.
Fucking up.
Look, when you worried about getting hit, you probably gonna get hit. Like, you know, that's the thing. That's the thing. That's the toughest thing about playing them. Yeah, man. All you got to do is not worry about fucking up, but don't fuck up when you play Pat Mahomes. What?
And you know what the thing is? They fucked up earlier and it didn't even hurt them. Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, you talking about that fumble? It did. The Chiefs.
I think that was like Christian McCaffrey's like 13th fumble like ever.
That was on the opening drive, right?
Opening drive didn't hurt them. They were still good. And I'm like, okay, maybe this is the team.
Well,
they can overcome.
Well, Colb, it did hurt them because they could have scored a field goal and maybe the game's different. Also, to be fair, hey man, Kansas City had that fumble too.
Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah.
Did he fumble again too?
I don't think he fumbled again. I think I think he fumbled, but it went out of bounds or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like a serious fumble there. But yeah, man, that game was a demonstration. It's something that I've been preaching the gospel of. Hey, dog, when we gonna stop acting like Pat like that? Are we finally done, Cole? Or at least on this podcast, are we done? Are we done wondering if Pat is the boogeyman? Like, have we accepted the gospel today?
I have accepted it until next season.
Come on, Cole. Don't make me be out here preaching the gospel again.
Hey,
talking about, oh man, you know what, the Browns, because the Browns could be the 1 seed next year. You like, you know what, man? We should want to beat the Chiefs. I'm like, are you stupid?
Listen, man.
Look, that championship ring ain't gonna look any different whether you play the Chiefs or not, baby.
If you want to be the best, you gotta beat the best.
Ask Akeem Olajuwon about that. How you think Akeem and Houston feel about that?
Listen,
hey,
that's another debate. Some people,
I'm quite fine getting my Hakeems in, dog. Like,
hey, however the Browns win the Super Bowl, I'm not gonna complain about it at all. I do not care. I don't.
What? Yeah, it's like, you gotta beat the best to beat the best. You gotta beat who you play. That's all you gotta do to win a Super Bowl. What people be coming up with this shit? You gotta beat the best if you want to be a true Super Bowl champ. You gotta beat who you play. Like, that's all you got to do?
I don't actually give a fuck about none of that. I don't care who we play. As long as I don't give a damn.
Ain't nobody going to care. Ain't nobody going to care.
y'all didn't beat us. I don't give a fuck, bro.
The only people who gonna care are gonna be the hating motherfuckers that didn't want you to win in the first place. So what are we really doing? like, what are we really doing?
Okay.
Like,
Man,
straight up.
I hope we have to play. Who stinks in the NFC? I hope we got to play the Vikings. That's what I hope we play.
I don't get. I hope we play the Lions. Okay.
Like, who else stinks in the NFC? I hope we play the Commanders. That's what I hope we play.
That's just too unrealistic. Okay, like, come on. But yeah, the Browns get a super fluke here. You call it Mickey Mouse. You call it what you want. Call it a championship.
Call it a bubble ring. Call it whatever you want. I don't care.
You was gonna hate on it anyways. You're not about. Come on. If the Browns get a ring in recent time, it's gonna be with Deshaun Watson on the team. We could beat God, and nobody gonna want to give that ring no credit. Like, come on now. Like, you think anybody gonna be out here like, yeah, man, Deshaun did it? Like, absolutely not.
We're not gonna say that.
No, I'll root for the team, and I'll be like, well, that's about Miles. Like,
it's like, y'all see what Nick Chubb was doing?
Miles and Nick really carried the team through a tough time.
We talk about random players. Hey, Corey Bojorquez putting the shit out the ball.
Hey, Elijah Moore really made up for it. Y'all gonna be out here talking about Joe Bitonio, okay? Like, that's who really deserves the MVP. Joe Bitonio gonna be the first guard to win Super Bowl MVP.
Nah, I'm pushing the DeJuan Jones Super Bowl MVP agenda.
That ain't who America voting for, Cole.
Oh, my fault.
America vote on that award now. You know what I mean? Like, they gonna be like, well, Joel's been there since Johnny Manziel. He's been working hard. Let's give him Employee of the Month.
Hey,
come on,
Joe, that's how you retire. Hey. You know, you get that MVP, you just retire.
That's it. Oh yeah. By the way, the Browns could have. Let's talk about the Browns awards real quick.
Hey, real quick.
Actually, we'll leave that to the end. We'll leave that to the end.
Super chats real quick because we got a couple.
Yeah. I can read some of these here. Got a couple to catch up on. Let me see.
Start with Big Kev because I think that's the one. I think it's where we left off.
Yeah, we got Big Kev 9539. Playoff passer rating Purdy equals 96.2. Lamar equals 75.7.
All right, Kev. I'm telling you right now. If you playing a game right now, you got to pick a quarterback. You're not picking no fucking Brock Purdy over Lamar Jackson.
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
Okay, I don't care what the roster look like.
Put Lamar Jackson on the 49ers. What do you think he would do on that 49ers offense? How many All-Pros they got? 5? Something like that?
Imagine Lamar Jackson running a read option behind Trent Williams.
Christian McCaffrey.
Imagine having to worry about him, Christian McCaffrey, and fucking Deebo Samuel.
On,
by the way, we gonna bring in George Kittle and Juszczyk. Just check. They could run the triple option and they might win it all.
I was literally just about to say they could run a triple option and win a Super Bowl.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Like, see, look, we ain't got to do this. We don't have to act like that Brock Purdy is somehow a more desirable quarterback than Lamar Jackson. We know this is not true. Lamar got more MVPs than he got seasons completed in the NFL. What are we doing? Can we wait? Can we wait on Brock? Can we wait? Why we got to do this, man? Why we got to do? We did this with Trevor. Why we got to be so early? Ain't no reason to be early.
It's the same team that made a Super Bowl with Jimmy G, by the way.
He out here trying to convince me that I would rather have Brock Purdy versus somebody who's already going to make the Hall of Fame.
Like, Jimmy G also blew a 10-point lead in the Super Bowl with this team. I'm just saying.
Hey, Brock Purdy's better than Jimmy G. He ain't throwing interception with his eyes closed, you know? So, like, there's that.
Hey, that's not saying much. It's a lot of guys.
Because here's the thing. Brock was making plays. Like, I think Brock legitimately could win a Super Bowl if Pat doesn't exist. Like, against Lamar, I think Brock has a chance. But Pat, it's just going to matter, dog. It's just going to matter that that's Pat. Like, he's not good enough to where it does not matter that that's Pat. At some point, we going to realize that's Pat.
I need to see what Brock looked like when when some of them guys leave. That's gonna be the real test to me. When
it might be a Brady thing. By the time he has less support, he develops as a quarterback and he's better off, right? But then people are gonna try to rewrite the narrative as if he was better earlier than he actually was. He has time to develop. He's in a great situation. He could become a great quarterback in 5 years. But let's not act like that's where Brock Purdy is right now. Brock Purdy is good. Saying. Pretty good. Damn good. Hey, there's some potential there. He can move a little bit. He could throw on the run. He could be a playmaker. But right now he's not. And that's okay. It's okay. That don't mean I hate him. That don't mean we hating on him. That don't mean Cam hating on him. That just means he ain't what y'all want him to be. Let that boy grow up. Right? I feel like people treat Brock Purdy like a parent with too high expectations. Like, you want him to be a doctor. Let that boy decide what he want to be. Okay? Y'all want him to be Tom Brady. How you know he don't want to be Jimmy? Right?
I don't think he want to be Jimmy.
I don't think he want to be Jimmy. But you know what? He might want to be Matt. Like, let that boy grow up, man. He 2 years old in the NFL. Let him grow up, man. Y'all out here trying to rush it.
I'm going to go a little out of order here just because this one's also related to the Brock Purdy topic. But from Ray Rags, I heard Shannon Sharp make the argument earlier to Dan Orlovsky when he missed Ayuk wide open for a TD with 2 minutes left. And Dan's argument back was that Chris Jones was in his face.
We be telling the truth about Brock Purdy, but don't want to admit it. Because that's exactly what happened. But guess what? That shit only matters when you're not that great, right? Like, if it's Pat, we not about to be like, hey, man, Nick Bosa was in his face. Yeah, but Pat gonna have to do that. Lamar Jackson, we ain't talking about no pressure that Chris Jones was getting on him. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. Like,
this leads me to a new point, though, and it doesn't really have anything to do with what Ray Rags is saying, but I just want to point this out because this is going to lead into our Browns discussion a little bit later. You notice how everybody kept saying how dominant Chris Jones was, how dominant Nick Bosa was, and neither one of them recorded a sack in that game. But people were making the argument that Chris Jones might have been the Super Bowl MVP based on how disruptive he was and how much he mattered to that defense and how his individual dominance stopped them from scoring more points than they would have, even though he didn't register a sack. I find that to be very, very, very interesting. Very interesting.
You know why, Cole? They actually watched that game. That's why. All of a sudden, he's not invisible when you watch the fucking game. Yeah.
Because George Karlaftis had a sack for the Chiefs, but nobody was saying that he was more dominant or that he performed better than Chris Jones. I find that to be very interesting.
I'm just glad that the people who voted on these awards actually watched.
I don't want to get ahead of the topic too much, but I don't know if you guys caught it. At one point, J.J. Watt during the show was praising Chris Jones for almost getting a sack. So just want to throw that out there. Anyway, another super chat from Ray Rags. How the hell did the 49ers coach not know the new overtime rules?
Hey, I'm going to be real with you. I'm going to be honest with you, though. Until Tony Romo told me what the deal was, I feel like 100 million people found out too that the overtime thing worked like quarters. Because I was like, hey, man, the clock going to become a factor here. Nope. Okay.
They was just letting it run down. I was like, why aren't you snapping the ball? And Tony was like, well, actually.
Because I'm assuming that you got till the end of overtime to respond, right? Like if you have the ball. Nah, that's honestly a terrible rule that they let that thing run down and work like a quarter. Like you should have to score within 15 minutes of game time in response to the other team. Like I feel like that's more interesting.
Technically, they did.
Yeah, because it happened right before 49er fans, new rule or not, it was happening.
They got the playoff in time. Like
it was happening. Like, look, you were losing that game. The second that extra point got missed, it was over.
Yeah,
it was over. And you saw that it was a clean break. It was only 3 points. It was over with. The second you got that, like, I always think the most morbid thing is when people celebrate them field goals with 2 minutes left to get the lead, because I'm like, you know.
Never enough.
But yeah, I don't know how much I could fault the 49ers for not knowing the overtime rules. With me personally, I did not know the overtime rules. Now, again, I was not playing in the Super Bowl, so that is a big distinction. But the Browns did play in the playoffs. I probably should have known that the overtime rules were different.
No, I blame them. I blame them entirely for not knowing the rules, because you know who did know the rules? The Chiefs coaches. The Chiefs players talked about it. It's like, oh yeah, we've been practicing this for 2 weeks. Like, we were super.
Do you actually believe that? That sounds way too fucking convenient to me. It sounds so convenient to me.
Yes.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it. That's one of those things you say to like make it hurt more to the other team. Like, yeah, man, we practice. Like when Ty Lue acted like he knew that the Cavs were gonna come back 3-1. Like, I don't buy that story at all.
Okay, that's different, because they actually have to tell you about the new overtime rules in the playoffs. Like, the league has to let you know. So, okay, it's way more.
Okay, I understand that Andy Reid might have known it, but do not sit here and tell me you practice that. Like, no, what? How do you practice that? How do you practice that?
Chris Jones said. He said
you anticipated that you would have 2 possessions take up 15 minutes of game time.
Listen, he said
that never happens. Stop it. Chris Jones is a fucking liar. Because how would Chris Jones know? Why would Chris Jones know that? That would never matter to Chris Jones. That is just some shit he is saying because we want it and people gonna let some shit fly. Come on, man.
Yeah, we letting it fly. They won.
Nah, I'm not letting that fly. I'm guarding that, dog. Nah, come on. Come on. You're not about to make me out here. This is like,
especially because the 49ers admitted they didn't know. He 100% can get that one off.
Yeah, nah, that's a lie. That's an outrageous lie. That's one of Michael Jordan lies.
And what? Listen, we let them.
And Mike been getting them lies on since the 90s. Yeah, man. I saw him and he didn't say hi to me, so I beat him by 40. You beat him by 40 because you're Mike. Okay.
Listen, when you win, you get to rewrite history. I'm gonna let Chris Jones rewrite history.
I'm not about to encourage this revisionist history. That man is lying. Wait, that lie don't make any sense. You practice this? You practice this? You practice this, dog? Really?
Okay.
Really? And your girlfriend go to a different school, don't she, Chris? Like, stop lying to me. Like, what are you doing? Come on. But I mean, like, I don't know if they could have deferred, they could have not. The issue isn't that they didn't defer. The issue they didn't score a touchdown.
Yeah, that's literally it.
The issue is that they didn't make the extra point at the end of the game. Like, deferring, not deferring, Pat was going to do it to him. You would have been criticized for deferring because now Pat put the pressure on you, right? Like, so what are we actually doing here? Like with it, I don't know. Like, it's Pat, dog. Like, this, you know how like sometimes the NFL like finds all these small things to tell us why injuries happen in football, and you be like, you know why injuries happen in football? Because you playing football. Like, that's the issue here. And I feel like a lot of people are trying to find little reasons why the 49ers didn't win this game, and I'm like, you know why the 49ers didn't win this game? Because Pat Mahomes was playing quarterback on the other team. Like, that's it. That's the bigger issue is that they had the better quarterback. They had the dude who could come in, and they didn't take this game out of that quarterback's hands at any point. And you keep a close game with Pat Mahomes, this happens. It can happen a multitude of ways. But this, we all knew it. When they couldn't get up more than 10 points on the Kansas City Chiefs, we knew what it was. Right? You didn't believe that they could win that game. Like, if they would have got 17 up, you'd be like, uh-oh. But they didn't get up 17. They got up 10. And that ain't doing it. None of us would feel good about a 10-point lead versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay?
I don't care how good your defense is. You're like, that's not enough. That's not enough.
Myles Garrett could be out there with 20 sacks and 48,000 pressures. They gonna find a way. They're gonna take them off the field or something. We're gonna do something stupid because it's Pat. Like, the game can't be close. Go ahead.
Yeah, speaking of elite quarterback play, we got another super chat from Ray Rags here who says, can you imagine if Deshaun Watson throws for 350 yards, 4 touchdowns in the Super Bowl? Will they give him Super Bowl MVP?
Fuck.
Hey,
absolutely not.
I'm about to say,
absolutely not.
the only way he gets look. If somebody got 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, well, David Njoku's going to be Super Bowl MVP.
I'm telling you, bro, there's nothing that man could do in the Super Bowl that would get him Super Bowl MVP. They would
you
never
know how desperately the NFL doesn't want to explain to 100 million people why Deshaun Watson is still playing football?
Exactly. They're not going to get him
there are a few things they want to do less than that. Like,
let's be real. Let's be real, man. It doesn't matter what he does. They will give it to Nick Chubb. They will give it. Man, they might just give
Kevin
it to Joe
Stefanski might be the first coach to get Super Bowl MVP. They give that shit to Ken Dorsey. Well, he called a great game.
They might give it to Jim Schwartz. Legit, they might give it to Jim Schwartz, dog. They'll give it to They might give it to Jimmy Haslam. They don't care.
Dog, that's gonna be the first year they give the Super Bowl MVP to a loser. Like, they go Jerry West that thing.
Jerry West that thing.
Somebody like, could you imagine Brock Purdy loses to Deshaun Watson? They gonna be like, hey, Brock battled. Brock battled. He battled, damn it. Give him the Super Bowl MVP.
Give it to Christian McCaffrey.
They would give it to Josh Allen if they could. If you like, they find a way to give it to Josh Allen.
They might give it to George.
Hey, look, Deshaun can have that stat line, but get sacked 3 times, and Nick Bosa would be the. Absolutely, they not trying to do that.
No way. Nah. Come on. Man.
Hey, look, that would be a conspiracy, and it would be obvious, but it would be a conspiracy that's not controversial because we'd be like, "Well, yeah,
I get it."
We got our ring on.
Would you even be mad? You'd be like,
I could like the Super Bowl MVP. I could care less. If my team won the Super Bowl, who cares? We don't ever talk about Braun winning the Super Bowl MVP. I mean, the Finals MVP. If Kyrie would have won it, ooh, okay. Give that shit to Kevin Love, man. He deserves something. Like, who gives a fuck? Who wins the MVP of the game? That's basically the Player of the Game award. We don't give a fuck about that whenever it happens. Like, this is the Player of the Game. Don't nobody care. Nobody care.
Ray
you only care because they put MVP on it.
Ray Rag said they would give it to whoever guarded the other team's best receiver, the most like the Iguodala Finals MVP.
Hey,
you ever look at them stats for LeBron in that year that Iguodala got the MVP?
He basically averaged a triple double. Basically, his
did.
field goal percentage was.
They gave Andre Iguodala that Finals MVP off the strength of one game. Okay, which is to say, these awards are unserious when it comes to the Finals MVP, Super Bowl MVP. Nick Foles got a Super Bowl MVP. Like, you don't put you in no fucking Hall of Fame. Like, and let's be real. Hey, Deshaun can do whatever he wants for the rest of his career. He on Barry Bonds with that Hall of Fame, baby. He ain't getting in. Like, he ain't getting in until we too old to talk about it. Okay, like that ain't happening. Like,
hey, real quick in the comments, somebody said Chuck Howley was the only Super Bowl loser to win MVP, Super Bowl V between the Colts. Shout out Chuck Howley, you know what I'm saying? Shout out history. Shout out Mike C. Rodriguez for the comment. Shout out to him, man.
Hey man, what team was Chuck on? What team was Chuck on?
I think somebody else.
Who was they holding back, man? I don't know. Super Bowl V? I can't trust the voters in Super Bowl V. Like, what's that, 68? I don't know if I can trust the voters. Like, hey, I hope we didn't discover an unfortunate fact about that day. You gonna tell me you feel good about something that happened? Like, that happens in Super Bowl 35. I'm not about to question it. Super Bowl V, I don't know.
Was on the Cowboys. Chuck was on the Cowboys, and Chuck is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Who was bought? I want to see the Super Bowl V box score now. Like, I'll look up this and I'll bring it back up when I got some concrete answers. But I gotta make sure. I gotta make sure.
So, this is how we end up. This is how we end up doing tangents. This is exactly how we end up doing tangents.
Let's talk about the halftime show while I do this. Usher went out there. I thought it was a nice show. Thought Usher did his thing. Brought out Alicia Keys. And my whole thing was, man, everybody on that stage aged gracefully. And then we saw will.i.am. And will.i.am, did you know that was will.i.am out there, Cole?
When was will.i.am out there?
He was out there. Yeah, he was out there in the helmet. That was him in the helmet.
I remember seeing Jermaine. I remember seeing Jermaine Dupri.
Yeah, Jermaine was out there in the sweatseat.
We saw her
with
with
the
guitar.
with the
We saw her with the guitar. Obviously,
she's so cool. Sometimes I'm like, you on my nerves being this damn cool. like it was too smooth and cool. I'm like, get out of here. You too cool. Like,
hey, speaking of Asian gracefully, Lil Jon
looks great. Looks taller.
He been in the gym. Go lie, been in the gym.
Hey man, Lil Jon looks great. Alicia Keys looked amazing. Usher still, you know what I'm mad about Usher with, and this is a very QnCOLB conversation. That hairline is obviously real and hasn't moved in 25 years, and I'm furious about that shit, man. Because I'm 28. My hairline is not as old as Usher's. Has just been sitting still, and my shit, okay, like my shit moving back like the Chiefs' offensive line. Meanwhile, Usher just stay still, like holding up.
Yeah, man. That's that. I'm not trying to hate on Usher.
Furious.
I feel like,
and then you see
that these days.
Hey man, you see all of these fake hairlines out there too. Because look, and the Super Bowl was full of brothers out here lying. Okay, lying about their situation.
Hey,
I'm glad.
I'm not gonna get on Brian.
lying.
Like my whole life.
Lying. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, look, Jermaine Dupri had the decency to stop lying. Did you know that Jermaine Dupri had been rocking out here with a flat top?
No.
Yeah. And look, I seen it. Okay. Like, I've seen it in person.
Like, say in real life?
Yes.
How was that? Seeing that in real life?
I'm like, it's but faking. I know you ain't got no flat top. It looks fine. If you don't think about the fact that that's Jermaine Dupri, man you've known for your entire life being bald. Like, yeah, if you could take that part out, it looks like it's actually his hair. But that's Jermaine Dupri. Ain't no way that's his hair.
Can I get my take off real quick?
You get your take off.
It's gonna be controversial. I don't know if you're ready, but I don't know if you're ready for this. Alicia Keys can't sing, man. She cannot sing. My whole life she hasn't been able to sing. She can't sing.
She did start off pretty rough.
Pretty
rough. Yes,
she can't sing, bro. She
had a rough one.
Hey, listen, she got classic albums. She got hella hits. Salute to her. She can't sing, bro. She can't sing.
Uh-oh.
Ray Rag says, "Is anyone's hair ever been as bad as the Carlos Boozer spray paint hair?"
Absolutely not. It's the worst of all time. The worst.
I can't believe he got a hold of that much Beijing.
I don't even understand why he did that.
Like that's not an easy thing to get a hold of, right? Like, not every barber got that. And I'm like, how did you get a hold of that much Beijing? Because let's be real. We all done it. We've all lied a little bit, you know, got the haircut enhancements. I don't know. Cole, your hairline looks like you might not need enhancements, but look, everybody else, we done did it. Especially us of the fairer skin tones. Like we have had to do it because our shit show more. Like,
us of the fair skin tones.
Yes. Yes.
Ooh.
You know,
wait. Imagine has a comment. She said, Alicia can sing, but she thinks she has a range that she doesn't have. Honestly, you know what? Imagine. I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
When Alicia Keys sings, I hear at least one person being like, "It's a girl at my church sing better than her every time."
She's probably right. And she's probably right. And I'm not trying to be hateful. I'm just being honest.
The problem is Alicia Keys can sing like a pop star. But people be giving Alicia Keys credit for being like a ballad singer, and I'm like, well, that's never been what Alicia Keys has been about. She give you a cool hook. A cool hook. That's what Alicia Keys is here.
No, you know what I think of? You know what I think of when I listen to Alicia Keys? And man, I gotta think of the name of this song where she was singing. And the background singer was singing with her and just destroying her.
We're gonna leave Miss Alicia alone now.
Listen, I'm just saying. That's what I knew. I was like, nope, you're not like that. She like Brock Purdy. You know what I'm saying? She like.
So you saying Keisha Cole gonna get on the podcast being like, look, there are song managers and then there are song makers.
She'll be like, there's singers and then there's the whispers.
She can't hit them runs like I used to hit them runs back in the day.
Listen, this is all I'm saying. If Tony Braxton.
So you saying Alicia Keys can't throw on the run? That's what you out here saying?
If Tony Braxton went on the pod and said, you know what? I was a singer. You know what I'm saying? Everybody came to it. You know what I'm saying? If
you said she ain't like Patty. She ain't like Patty.
Baker said that. If Anita Baker went on the pod and said, I was a singer, you gonna tell her she lying? You know what though? It's the same. We do the same thing with singers that we do with basketball players, because you can easily be like, she could have had a career in the 90s. You had to actually be able to sing. Hey, we wouldn't be lying either. We wouldn't be lying either.
We do the same thing with singers that we do with basketball players. We really do. Because Brett Fayez is cool now.
Brett Fayez could definitely not be in the 90s.
You put that up in the 90s, you're like, oh man, you better go with P. Diddy. Like, start rapping.
Man, could you imagine Brett Fayez trying to sing with all them 90s singers, with Usher and all of them? Come on, dog.
He'll be like,
what the hell is that?
Like, why are you talking?
Imagine Brett Fayez trying to sing with Casey and JoJo.
Dog,
come on, dog.
Brett Fayez wouldn't have even been able to hang with 112. Bone Thugs and Harmony would sing them out the building. Wishbone?
Come on, dog.
He ain't got nothing on the wishbone.
I don't even think we could put Brett. They wouldn't have even put Brett on the hook back in the night.
Mm-hmm. Look, analytics has made it so that we out here calling Drake R&B.
Oh wait, hey!
I was listening to a YK Osiris song. I was like, "Look how far we fallen."
I don't know why you're doing that. I don't know why you were doing that. That's crazy. Hey, somebody said, "Hey, Quincy, what would you do if Usher grabbed your girl like that in front of 30 million families?" The Swiss Beats have to. Okay, I'm not gonna finish that last sentence.
Hey, look, man. You cannot overplay that. You cannot be Tom from the Boondocks, right? You cannot be formerly Mr. Keke Palmer, right? You can't be. You just gotta be like, charge it to the game. It is. That's the price of dating Alicia Keys. Okay. Like, you can't take every shot personally, dog. You know, you got the trophy. Like you have the championship at home. You know what I mean? She kicking with you in her PJs. Don't worry about what Usher doing on that stage, bro. That ain't about you. They ain't got nothing to do with you.
You're not gonna win that battle, brother.
That ain't got nothing to do with you, man. They ain't got nothing to do with you. You know? That Alicia Keys might as well be a different person when she on stage than when she at home. Like, that's a character. You wouldn't get that bad if it was in a movie. Like, you know, that's just how you got to see it. That's how you got to see it. You got to separate yourself, or else you're going to lose yourself. All right? Because we all saw it. We all saw it, and we knew the second she got up off that piano, it was happening. Okay. They were singing My Boo. Like, look, the second she told you
Shirt
what the
off
set
and
list
everything.
was, yeah, his shirt wasn't off yet. Shirt wasn't off yet.
I ain't gonna lie, I might have felt the way. This man got his nipples all out. I'm like, oh no, I don't like this.
You just look. That's where the strength of having a good homeboy is, because you know what? If that happens to Cole just gonna have to call me, let it all out, and it's gonna be good, bro. Just let that out your system. Don't go public, okay?
Oh, definitely can't tweet it out. Can't tweet it out.
Oh yeah. Just let your first. I got you, bro. Yeah, that's rough. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, yeah, it's just show. Yeah. Just get all your instinctual anger out, because you're gonna be mad when you see it. The caveman in you gonna be hurt. It's gonna be mad. Just gotta move on past it. And you know what, man? I'm sure Swiss Beats understands the game, because Swiss Beats have been in this game for a very long time.
Yeah, it is what it is.
He understands.
Mike C. Rodriguez said, "Fallen by Alicia Keys hits differently." Not gonna lie, great song. This is my thing. This is my problem. It's not the album.
I know you had these serious takes about Alicia Keys.
Hey man, I used to have some crazy tweets about. Oh, Michael Cooper, Diary. That's the song. Yeah, dude was washing her. Like, Alicia put up 20, and dude had like a smooth 55. Like, it was bad. But yeah, my issue with Alicia isn't that she can't make good songs. You know how some people sound good on a track, and you hear them in person, and they don't sound like that,
and the voice ain't as full.
That's my issue with Alicia.
Okay, that's fair. Look, man, everybody can't be Bruno Mars. Okay, like Bruno Mars is the one dude I'm like, nah, that dude could have played in the 90s. Like, he's the DeMar Rosen of this conversation. I'm like, nah, his game would be better in the 90s. He get some New Jack Swing going. He out here dancing. He would have been big in the 90s. He's just really big in this era. Yeah, but R&B singers, basketball players, we kind of had the same conversation about them. Who would have known that if you didn't listen to QnCOLB? So that was our halftime show conversation. We are going to sneak some Cavs topics in, because the comments did tell us we ain't talk about the hottest team in the NBA. And that's true. We did not talk about the Cavs. Cavs didn't make any moves at the trade deadline, but they're balling.
I don't think they needed to make any moves at the trade deadline, to be honest. I think
let's talk about this. This is something we talked about at the beginning of the year. I've always made the point that the thing is that Donovan Mitchell might prefer to be somewhere else in his heart of hearts. But that don't mean that they hire him. Right? And I don't know if anybody hiring that it would make sense for him to leave his current job, because keep it a buck, it's a good job that he has here in Cleveland.
Might be a great one.
Maximize his potential. Honestly, Donovan Mitchell has been better than he's ever been as a Cavalier, than he's been anywhere else. More efficient, better shooter, better utilized. Now he's a playmaker. I don't know if he walks away from that as easily as people are implying, simply because he would prefer to play in New York. I think that's true. He would probably prefer to play in a bigger market, or prefer to play for a different team. But I don't think that means that he has to, and he's going to sacrifice the quality of job in order to do it. And we was watching the Cavs play the Brooklyn Nets. Hey, dog, ain't no fucking way I'm leaving the Cavs for that. Like,
so there's 3 points I want to get to about this entire Donovan Mitchell conversation. If you guys have been listening to us, there was a point in the season, earlier in the season, where I honestly thought they were going to have to trade him, because they weren't looking too hot. And then Garland and Mobley got hurt. And I was like, oh, this is probably going to be real bad. And they might have to ship him out somewhere just because it's going to get bad. Obviously, that didn't happen. But a lot changed in between when I said that and where we are now. So 3 things. First and foremost, have we ever considered, and when I say we, I mean people who just talk about the Cavs nationally, have you ever considered that the New York Knicks do not want him anymore? Has that ever been a conversation has that ever been a conversation we've ever tried to have? Because if you looked at what the New York Knicks have done, they're being pretty obvious in saying we don't want / need Donovan Mitchell anymore. They traded for OG Anunoby. They've traded for one of the Bogdanoviches, the one that was in Detroit. I get him and the one in Atlanta confused with their first names. But yeah, they traded for him and also somebody else whose name I can't remember, but he's pretty decent. But what they're showing you is that they've moved on. And honestly, the way I've interpreted it is this. They feel that Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell are the same caliber of basketball player. You might say that Donovan Mitchell is a little bit better, but he's not so much better that they feel the need to go get Donovan Mitchell. And honestly, Jalen Brunson has outplayed him in the playoffs 2 years in a row. So they have a right to feel that way, to be completely
They also might not feel that Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell are compatible.
They're not. And they don't want to have two small guards. They don't want to commit that many resources to two small guards. Might be something the Cavs have to address at some point, but we won't get into that. So I completely understand why they've taken the position that they have, but nobody ever talks about it that way. Nobody ever discusses the Donovan Mitchell trying to go to New York thing as, I don't even think the Knicks want him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't blame them for feeling that way, because if you look at the teams in the East, the three best teams in the East have been the Knicks, the Celtics, and the Cavs. They have every right to not even feel like it's necessary to try to go get him.
And that's my main point is we've been so focused on where Donovan Mitchell might leave to that we haven't stopped to ask ourselves, does it actually make sense? Because the assumption is he's going to leave Cleveland. And this is like, we do this sometimes where it's like, oh, well, he has to leave Cleveland. Why? Why does he have, like, if this were LeBron in 2011, okay, yeah, he had to, because the Cavs weren't ran well, but the Cavs are fine enough organization. They since LeBron is associated with them, they have a bigger cachet than their market allows for them to be. You can pop off big with the Cavs, anything like that. And it's like, your team's really good, right? Like, you're the 2 seed in the East. You're continuing to get better. And also, you have young pieces that are getting better every year. Isaac Okoro starting to become, dare I say, two-way Isaac Okoro.
Listen, man, he might get that all defensive team spot, dog. He might get there. He might get
8% from 3.
He got to take more threes to me, but even the threes that he takes in games, he not just taking corner threes anymore, is what I know.
Yeah.
He hitting like above the break leg. I was like, okay. I see it. I see the development. You know what I'm saying?
Sam Merrill out of nowhere.
Sniper.
Hey,
Sniper.
Like it. Klay Thompson Jr.
All right. Let's
shout out to my guy Tony.
Did Tony Pesta say that? Tony Pesta say that?
He put a thumbnail out, but
oh, come on, Tony. We gotta be.
He just making a larger point. He liking a larger point. You know what I mean? You know how the game is. We don't agree with every thumbnail we put out. Like, you know how the game goes. But I think that has been good for them. Also, Evan Mobley as a defensive player, I mean, he's one of the best. He's got to get used to playing. There is, Darius Garland. They got to figure out what they want to do there with him long term, or what they want to do with him and Donovan Mitchell long term.
That's what people need.
But I do think that that's solid. Like, I think people talk about it, and I'm like, y'all acting like they're not going to be able to get this to a point to where they're going to be really good again. Like with him and DG and Donovan, like, yeah, is it awkward now? But it's always awkward when a player whose usage rate is as high as Donovan DG comes back to a rotation after being gone for 6 months. Like, that usually takes a little while to figure out and how we going to get this new flow going. I think the big difference for the Cavs is they got 3-point shooters this year, and they did not have that last year, right? Like, it was very easy to lock out the Cavs in the driving to the hoop and just make them shoot. And we was out here praying that Cedi Osman had a good night. Like, that's the thing. Huh?
Yeah, like you're 100% correct. It's people talk about the Cavs like they're the Cavs from last year, and that lets me know that people aren't watching the Cavs. Because I think the Cavs are 9th in 3-point attempts right now in the league, and they didn't start off the season playing like this. Like Sam Merrill wasn't in the rotation, you know what I'm saying? Like they didn't start off the season playing like this, but what the injuries kind of forced JB to do was adapt his style of play and adapt the way that they approach offense. And so he just started putting the shooters in the rotation, saying, okay, we got all these shooters. Let's just have Donovan out there. Jared Allen's the only big shooters. Let's make it work. And the results have been better than I think anybody could have realistically anticipated coming into the year. But this kind of goes to my second point with Donovan Mitchell stuff. Why would he leave? I refuse to believe he wants to be in New York so badly that he would leave a situation where his team is second in the Eastern Conference to go play for the Brooklyn Nets of all teams. Like, first of all, the Nets are not the Knicks. Like, they're in New York. Like, they're in New York, but they're not really a big market team.
Yeah,
to be completely honest with you, like they
had KD, Kyrie, and James Harden, and didn't nobody give a fuck about the Knicks. Okay,
they had Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden, and the fans in New York were cheering for Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson and whoever else they had on that team before Jalen.
Hey, RJ Barrett, it's gonna be his year.
Like that's like
fans and RJ Barrett was the most toxic relationship I've ever seen in my life. Like you knew the second that they drafted RJ Barrett, like this is gonna be toxic.
like I was like, he's not leaving. And also, just want to throw this out there: the Nets stink. The Nets are not a good basketball team whatsoever. And after that, no, I don't believe you, Jack. And after a trade, because they would have to trade for him, they're going to be even worse.
Yeah.
He's not going there, dog. He's not going there.
And then they got to pay him too.
And then they're going to have to max you.
Yeah. And then you're going to be out here with Donovan Mitchell and Mikal Bridges.
And nothing else. And no draft picks. But what's the appeal for him to leave Cleveland at this point? I would understand if the Knicks didn't have Jalen Brunson. I get it. But now it's like, where are you gonna go?
Also, like, do we do this with teams that don't stink? like I understand why we was trying to get Bradley Beal out of there for so long because the Wizards stink. Okay. But like Cavs don't stink. They're pretty good. They're really good.
You can make an argument they've been the best team in the NBA since 2024 started.
Yeah. So I'll get it feels like a collective thirst. Like people feel like they have to get Donovan Mitchell out of there. And it's like, maybe he want to stay. Like I understand like he might prefer to be somewhere else, but people prefer to be other places all the time and don't go. I'm pretty sure Brad Beal wanted to be somewhere else for a little while, but Wizards made the most sense for him for the longest time. Let's talk about these Steelers fans rushing the Capitol.
Oh yeah. Start talking about all the hate.
Storming
the Browns won the awards. I can't believe people were so upset about the Browns winning all these awards, man. 4 for 4, by the way. Clean sweep. You
don't know the Browns won Assistant Coach of the Year, which I did not know was an award until this year. They won Coach of the Year, 2-time Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski. In there in the likes of Don Shula and Bill Belichick, multiple time Coach of the Year winners. And I don't think we've seen the best out of Kevin. I feel like he's gonna be a three-time.
We'll see. We'll see.
By the way, the Browns Coach of the Year, having the 2-time Coach of the Year, and that dude doing it while he was with the Browns is like, it blows my 12-year-old brain. Like, you know, because I was like, the Browns just having a coach for 3 years was like a thing. Like, I remember I was excited. Romeo Crennel coming back for year 3. Like, so, I mean, ecstatic for that. Comeback player of the year, Joe Flacco, in a bit of an upset. That was crazy.
We'll talk about that.
That was crazy. That was, look, if there's one that we stole.
I'm not gonna lie. That was the one I didn't feel too good about. I didn't feel too good
I ain't even saying we stole it from DeMar Hamlin. We gotta stole that shit from Baker Mayfield. If we give it if you weren't gonna give it to DeMar, it kind of should have went to Baker Mayfield.
Baker. Kind of went to Baker. But also, fuck him, you know?
It's nasty, man.
He ain't no more. Fuck him.
Because that's nuts. That's nuts. That's nuts. By the way, Mike C, who brought up that Super Bowl thing, I'm gonna just point out John Mackey was balling in that Super Bowl in Super Bowl V. And they ain't trying to give it to him.
Oh,
Who was the first black Super Bowl MVP? Was it after Super Bowl V? Let me figure that out. Because if it was Doug Williams, I found out a controversy from the 70s. Super Bowl MVP. We gonna find out who was the first one. Franco Harris. Did not know. I always forget. I always think Franco's like mixed with more of a South American mix in there. But I forget Franco brother. And Franco did get it in Super Bowl IX. Okay. Yeah. 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 Just saying. It felt fishy when I saw it. Okay.
Little racist mode.
I was like, oh. On the Dallas Cowboys? Super Bowl V. When did that happen? Yeah, what was this? 1971, dog. Ooh. 1971.
Yeah.
Nah. John Mackey should have won it. Okay. I don't know what the other dude did. Greg, if you could look up the box score for Super Bowl V and tell me if that guy has a better statistical case than I'm making it out to be, please do so. But yeah, John Mackey got robbed, man. They did my brother wrong. We need to correct that. Okay. But Miles, speaking of getting done wrong, Miles won Defensive Player of the Year. And I feel like this didn't get talked enough about how TJ Watt sent that hating ass tweet. That hater ass tweet. By the way, Miles done had to watch him win it 2 times when Miles had a legitimate argument to win Defensive Player of the Year. But no, he sat back and was like, that's the game. But the hate was so strong on Myles Garrett that Micah Parsons had to be like, are y'all stupid? That's Myles Garrett. Of course he deserves the award. You want to know how great Myles Garrett is at football, Cole?
How great is he?
We just spent the first hour talking about this show, about Pat Mahomes being one of the greatest of all time. Myles Garrett was selected number 1 in that draft, and don't nobody ever say shit about that. No, you had to do it. Okay.
Everybody acknowledges how great Myles is. It's so funny.
If Pat Mahomes is Pat Mahomes is Michael Jordan, then Myles is Akeem Olajuwon.
Hey, Sean Richards said we need some anime in this. Oh, don't worry, buddy. Give me a second. Give me a second.
It's not happening.
Let me see. I'm trying to come up with an anime comparison now.
Before we get into that, I got the box score from Super Bowl V here.
All right, let's hear it.
I'll be honest, none of these numbers look that impressive to me. Earl Morrall was the quarterback for the Baltimore Colts.
Oh, Earl?
Yeah.
Earl Morrall?
That sounds good. He had 15 attempts for 7 completions, 147 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 pick. In terms of rushing, they were really going between two backs. One had 10 attempts for 33 yards. The other one had 18 attempts for 28 yards. This is the Baltimore Colts.
Wait, no, Earl Morrall, he was a quarterback for the Cowboys, wasn't he?
Not according to the football database.
Okay. I thought Johnny Unitas was the Baltimore Colts' quarterback that time.
Let me see. I can't say I'm that knowledgeable on this era. Let me see if I'm wrong. Johnny Unitas, He was Baltimore Colts from 56 to 73. He also has stats from the game for 9 attempts and 3 completions for 88 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 picks. They both threw around 9 to 15 passes.
Oh wow! Yeah, it was a different time. It was a different time.
Absolutely a different time.
And yeah, in terms of receiving and I'm assuming the Baltimore Colts, since they're the ones who won and didn't get Super Bowl MVP. Kind of the same deal with receiving. Roy Jefferson was their leading receiver with 3 receptions and 52 yards. And then, the defensive stats weren't that like specific at the time because they weren't recording sacks or anything. So I don't know. That's what I got.
Hey man, the NFL used to suck. Oh my god! You had to watch 2 quarterbacks throw 50% on the same team.
Imagine if we had.
I'm gonna just assume that was the tail end of Johnny Unitas' career, because that can't be the dude. The people be out here like, it's one of the greatest of all time. That can't be, man.
The Cowboys weren't much better. Craig Morton was the only quarterback who had any throws, and he was 26 attempts, 12 completions for 127 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 picks.
Ooh.
Hey man, who got them 3 picks on defense? Because ain't no way Chuck Howley got Super Bowl MVP at linebacker and your quarterback threw 3 interceptions?
Let's see. We have Jerry Logan got a pick, Rick Volk got a pick, and Mike Curtis got a pick. Rick Volk's pick was he took it back for 30 yards. So,
the whole defense was even.
But they gave it to the other team defense. See, I don't know if this is Cowboys bias or if this is racism. I have no idea, but I do know we probably should move off of this thing.
Chuck Howley in the box score did have 2 of the 3 picks for the Cowboys defense. The other pick was by a guy named Mel Renfro.
Now I gotta see them picks. Were they tip ball interceptions?
All right, we do it a lot.
Something tells me about 1972 that them interceptions wasn't that impressive. Get 2 interceptions and you lose. You win Super Bowl MVP. That's how it works.
The only other thing I'm wondering about is how the kickers did.
He had a fumble recovery too. I guess he was balling.
He was balling.
Kickers didn't do anything either.
Hey man, that must have been before anybody cared about the Super Bowl. Because could you imagine if that happened today?
This is the worst Super Bowl we've ever seen in our lives.
In an era where everybody was watching TV, only 46 million people watch that, man. Like, that's nuts. That's nuts. 100 million people watch this, and don't nobody got television no more. Like,
there's a guy on the Colts that year, Ron Garden. He was their punt returner. He returned 4 punts for 4 yards, 1 yard per punt.
At that point, why the fuck are you catching them?
There were 8 punt returns this game, and the longest one for either team went for 8 yards.
You know what? This makes sense because every Super Bowl Baltimore has been involved with has been incredibly forgetful and boring. Outside of Beyonce performing in 2012 and then shutting down the power. That's the most interesting thing to happen. That was actually a good Super Bowl. Let me not hate. That was actually like one of the better Super Bowls of my life.
That was a great Super Bowl. I'm not even gonna lie.
Well, come on, man. Joe Flacco won that one.
Hey.
Can we go back to our Joe Flacco jokes? Are we clear on Joe Flacco jokes yet?
I think we're clear.
I think we're clear on Joe Flacco jokes. Because we had to hold back for a little bit, you know. People was out here like buying it, rewriting the history and everything. Oh, you know, Joe Flacco's one of the greatest in the postseason. Okay. But yeah. Do you think TJ Watt's reaction. Do you think if somebody else does that, if Max Crosby does it, if Myles Garrett does that, does it get covered differently?
They wouldn't do nothing like that though. Is my thing like that, and that's what bothers me so much about it. It's like none of them. Everybody's just like, yeah, congrats. Like Myles deserved it. Myles is great. No, like for you to take this moment, especially when Myles congratulated you when you won, and the everybody else who was in the running congratulated you when you won your award. For you to take that opportunity to say nothing I'm not used to, and publicly complain about somebody else winning an award. To me, that was just corny, dog. Like it was just corny. And the only reason we're not really talking about it is because the Steeler fan base is so vocal and so loud on social media that people are taking up for him. But that was corny. Like that was corny, and honestly, it was disrespectful. He shouldn't have done it. No, he shouldn't have done it. And JJ egging it on and posting his stats and all this other stuff and going along with it. I get it. That's his brother. I get it. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's supposed to be a good brother.
But JJ don't even believe that shit.
He don't. He literally.
I hear how JJ talks about his brother, and I hear how JJ talks about Myles. And when he be talking about, he's like, yeah, he's good at this and that. And when he talk about Myles, he flabbergasted. Every time you bring up Myles Garrett to JJ, I'm like, I don't know how that happens. Like, so to me, it's like, why are we acting like we don't understand what happened to Myles Garrett in the last 6 weeks in the context of other positions? Darrelle Revis was a shutdown corner. He did not have a million interceptions because teams decided to stop throwing to Darrelle Revis. Teams basically decided we are going to let Myles Garrett impact the game significantly without him doing a single thing, just by the game plan. We're going to throw this ball in 3 steps. We're not going to go to a 7-step drop. We're not going to hold on to the ball. We're not going to do any trick plays. We're going to get rid of this ball quickly. That's the impact that he has. That's what Michael Parsons is talking about. And Michael Parsons, who had a higher double team rate technically, and could claim that he's the one person who could claim advance and numbers that he had a better year than Myles Garrett. He openly said, nah, you watch the tape. He was better than me. Why are we acting like Myles don't deserve the award? Now, if TJ would have won this award, I wouldn't have thought it was a robbery or that he didn't deserve it. I thought TJ had a legitimate claim to the award, but they gave it to Myles. And to sit there and throw fire on people who want to claim that Myles Garrett's win here was illegitimate is bullshit. And I know he's going to try to hide behind it and squirm out of it because, honestly, I don't like the way that TJ Watt carries himself. He kind of carries himself as a little bit of a bitch about these kind of things. And he's bitching right now. He's being a little bitch about it. And that's what I don't like about it. It's like, oh, well, I didn't actually say, and he's hiding behind like technicalities when what you did was some hating bullshit. And it wasn't no hating bullshit. That's my rival.
No.
It was like professionally, that was not how you're supposed to handle that situation. You can say nothing. But to say that, okay. And to act like you get overlooked when you are the most overrated pass rusher in the league is crazy to me. Crazy to me. Because teams don't defend against you like they defend against Max Crosby, Nick Bosa. They don't worry about you like they worry about Nick. They don't worry about you like they worry about Alex and Cam.
Hey, you know what? Let's take it a step further. They don't worry about you like they worry about Trey Hendrickson on the Bengals.
You know what, man? TJ Watt, you know how they say he grew up on third base, but thought he hit a triple.
Mm-hmm.
TJ Watt's not that much, but you know what? He did get awarded a free base, and then got batted around to a score, and he think he hit a home run. He don't realize how much help he had. His whole career, he's had elite help from not only the interior, but the opposite edge position. He's had elite help by just being able to be in more pass rush sets than Myles Garrett is. Myles Garrett is asked to do everything on the defensive line. Yeah, I know TJ Watt goes out in coverage, and he's decent at coverage, but Miles is asked to play 3T. He's asked to play 5 wide, 3 eye, 4 eye, power eye. Hell, they put him up at nose. He plays every position on the defensive line. He has an impact at every position he plays. Every time he moves around, teams were putting motion in 2 tight ends to stop Myles Garrett from having an impact, and it didn't even work.
Mike brought that up.
Yeah. And for people to act like that dude didn't have an impact in the last 7 games, which, by the way, watch those games and tell me Myles Garrett didn't have an impact. Those teams
watch that Jets game
specifically. Myles Garrett.
Watch
they
that
were
Jets
terrified.
Game specifically. He didn't have a sack in that game.
Myles Garrett.
Dominated the game.
And by the way, he was playing with a hurt shoulder, but that's not even above the point, right? Like, they ain't even above the point. Man plays through all kind of injuries, plays through all kind of hassle, gets held more than any other edge rusher simply because he's Myles Garrett, right? And they believe holding Myles Garrett is a fair thing to do when he's Myles Garrett. And you out here with your 15% double team rate, with your sacks that you get in 7 seconds, acting like somebody else ain't deserving of the award because you had more sacks. You know what, TJ? The only thing TJ Watt is entitled to for getting that many sacks is the Mackey Award. There's an award they give for that, right? You get the sacks, you get the most sacks. You get, I think it's like the John Mackey Award, or whatever it is. John Deacon Award, I think. Deacon Jones Award, my bad. Deacon Jones Award. That's what you get if you get the most sacks. That's all it entitles you to. But to act like you're entitled to Defensive Player of the Year because you had a sack-heavy season, well, you know this ain't been your most productive year in like 3 years. Like, he wasn't anywhere as close to as good as he was in 2021. He wasn't anywhere as close this year to being as impactful as he was in 2022. He was honestly a disappointment this year. The sack numbers hit it, but you look at the advanced numbers, you look at the tape, TJ Watt wasn't affecting the game. And you want to ask yourself this as a Cleveland Browns fan, just ask yourself, when the fuck did TJ Watt do anything to hurt us in a game this year? Like, he got a fumble recovery? He didn't even force the fumble.
It was Alex Highsmith.
We was more worried about Alex on Jed than we were worried about TJ Watt. And I'm sorry, there was no time where I'm like, you got to worry about Za'Darius more than Miles. Absolutely not. The Browns defense had one concern mainly. Who was it? Miles. They got all pro players everywhere else. Miles.
Go to that site. The Ray Rags, we see your super chat. We appreciate you. But the comment after yours is the one I wanted to hammer on. That second game, when they played in Cleveland, he did nothing with DeJuan Jones. Nothing. There was a couple plays DeJuan just straight up beat his ass on some reps, dog. Like, he didn't do anything.
And then let's reverse that to look at what Miles did against Trent. Had Trent admitting he a Hall of Famer after that game.
A team that just played in the Super Bowl, by the way.
Yeah. You know what tells me? This was controversial to everybody who doesn't get anywhere close to the football field, right? Like, but to the people on the field, Michael Parsons, this wasn't controversial to. Hey, look, I bet if you ask Dan Moore, he's like, nah, Miles should have got it. Okay. And I say this all the time, and I'll continue to say this. Myles Garrett is the best edge rusher in the NFL. I don't care what the numbers say. I don't care what. We know it because we see it. And I'll tell you this right now. Mike Tomlin would trade TJ Watt in a heartbeat to get Myles Garrett. He would. He would trade him in a heartbeat. He would trade him like that. I know it takes a while for Steelers fans to accept, but he'd trade him like that. Because Myles has more impact than 90% of edge rushers by simply existing. We know how we talked about Pat Mahomes, just him existing does that thing to teams. Right? Where they start pressing, and they start worrying. Myles Garrett's existence makes offensive linemen just jump off sides. Good ones. We saw this with Larry Tunsil, who did a good job on Myles Garrett. He was like, nah, he had like 3 false starts in that game.
You know what? I'm glad you're talking about the Texans because there's a point I wanted to make. Everybody brings up that Texans loss in the playoffs, which is, I mean, you can if you want, if that makes you feel good. But we know the Browns were hurt, we're injured all over the place and everything like that. But let's get away from that. I know for a fact, CJ Stroud himself said, Myles Garrett is the best defensive player in football. It's not close. If you play against him and you see what he's doing every down, every snap, he is the best defensive player in football. The players feel, and this is another thing. The NFLPA put out their own All-Pro list.
Mm-hmm.
They had Myles Garrett as Defensive Player of the Year. His own peers, TJ Watt's own peers, the players that he is playing against, all admitted that Myles is better than him. If you listen to offensive linemen talk about defending both of them, it would be so easy. It was. I think it was Corey. I think it was Corey who retweeted.
It was on Corey's thread, but it was like somebody had the tweet where it's like, "Hey man, I went to an offensive line camp and somebody brought up blocking against TJ Watt, and they're like, yeah man, as long as you stay in front of him, get a good set, you can do it." And then they talk about Myles Garrett. He's like, they almost had a connection. Okay,
yeah, like,
they moved on to guys who are actually problems.
Yeah, what they said about TJ specifically was, don't let him beat you off the snap, and don't give up. Because he's not gonna give up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just don't give up because he's still gonna be hanging around. He's still gonna be trying to like later into the snap, like especially if it's an extended play, he's never gonna give up and he's gonna keep trying to get your quarterback. So as long as you don't give up, you'll be fine. When they talk about trying to stop Myles, they're like, hey man. Hey, you got 3 seconds.
You notice what they said in there, right? It was about what I can do individually. When you talk about a dude like Myles Garrett, it is no longer an I problem, right? TJ Watt is a great player, great edge rusher, Hall of Fame, but he's a I problem. I have to do this. I have to make sure I don't give up. I have to do this. When Myles Garrett is across from you, that is a we problem. We have to get back. We have to protect the inside. We have to stop this and that. We have to worry about that. That is the difference. Okay. Myles Garrett requires a team effort to stop. You feel fairly confident about your ability to stop TJ Watt on an individual basis. Myles Garrett is not even a thought about doing that.
That point leads us to Mike Watts' super chat that he just said. Remember when they put TJ one-on-one against the one and DeJuan pancaked him? Yes, I do remember that. A rookie offensive tackle did that to a first-team All-Pro defensive end, well, edge rusher.
You get the right matchup. It is what it is, right? Like, and look, TJ's got a great motor, and there's something to be said about his production, and that's why he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. But again, the presence of his production does not invalidate the dominance that you can see on tape from Myles Garrett. I'm not saying that you can't think that TJ Watt should have won Defensive Player of the Year. If you're a stat-based guy and you think he should have won Defensive Player of the Year, good on you. I'm not going to be mad at that. But do not sit here and try to invalidate Myles Garrett's accomplishment because he didn't have the sack numbers that you want. And by the way, we talking about a dude who had 14 sacks, like he had 6 of them bitches. Like, what are we doing? Like, that's the crazy thing. He only had 14. He's only coming off of back-to-back 16 sack seasons. For Browns fans that do this, drive me nuts because Myles Garrett's worst year is like the best year in franchise history. Okay, what are we doing? Myles Garrett has more double-digit sack seasons himself than the Cleveland Browns did before they drafted him. Okay, that's how good Myles Garrett is. So again, it's not the sack number is a threshold number. It's not a cumulative number. Sure, is it cool to get 20 sacks? Awesome. But you know what? You just kind of want to make sure you get above 13. Like, that's really it. After that, it starts to become about other things, right? Once you in there, you're in the elite club and it becomes about other stuff. It's a reason we wasn't talking about the Neil Hunter. And it's a reason the only person out here talking about the Neil Hunter as if he's one of the best defensive players in football is TJ Watt, because they both scamming the same scam. Okay? High ass sack numbers. Oh, was Khalil Mack a better player than Myles Garrett this year? Had more sacks. No. Like, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Was Josh Allen a better player than Myles Garrett this year? Had more sacks. Come on. Use your brain. Okay? Use your brain, people. Again, not to say that you can't have the opinion that TJ Watt should have won it because of production. If you think that, cool. I think you're wrong, but hey, It's not an invalid opinion. If TJ Watt would have won that award, I would have understood why. But let's not act like Myles Garrett's reasonings for winning this award are invalid. Like those stats don't exist. And that's the thing. It's the anti-intellectualism that is like these dudes are out here just being anti-intellectual and like proud of it. Because like, who knows about this stat? Like, that's not a real stat. I'm like, you guys are proud of being stupid. It don't nothing make me more mad than people being proud of being stupid. Like, you proud of ignorance? That's what you proud of? You out here beating your chest because you don't understand pass rush win rate when the name, the stats purpose is in the fucking name. What's pass rush win rate really? It's a amount of the rate that you win your pass rush. I don't think that ever had to be explained to anybody, Cole. Like, this ain't like DVOA. Okay? Like, the stat is called pass rush win rate. You know, other stat that they complain about, double team percentage. Ooh, I wonder what double team percentage measures.
Hey, Almighty Kilo said, I feel like sacks are just glorified tackles for loss. I mean, I think some are more valuable than others, especially when you look at it. It's not necessarily that they're glorified tackle for losses. To me, it's more so like, how are you getting them is what matters to me. Because if it takes you 8 seconds to get a sack, you know what I'm saying? That's not as reliable as when Myles gets his sacks and he gets his sacks in like 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, like what are you forcing the time to throw to be? Are you forcing that time to throw to be under 2.2? Right? Like a lot of these stats are threshold numbers, not truly mattering who gets the most. But yeah, it's like you got to watch football, man. Like people want to figure out a way to measure this without watching it. You just got to watch it. Football's too much going on. You got to watch football. You can't read it. And there's no stat that's going to give you a perfect measurement of who the best player in the league is. But anybody who's watched Myles Garrett, they're not mad at him winning Defensive Player of the Year. They're not like, oh, man, that's a shame. Nobody who actually knows what they're talking about is saying that. Only people who are trying to push that argument are people who directly benefit from pushing such a narrative. And I do think that's bullshit that TJ Watt is going to do that because he tries to smile and act like he's friends with Myles Garrett and all this stuff. But to do that, all right, I see how you really is. And
Face Sabler said, I think offensive coordinators should be the only people that vote on Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, let me tell you, unanimous Defensive Player of the Year 3 times in a row, Myles Garrett.
He would have been unanimous. Easy.
Unanimous.
We wouldn't even be talking about it. TJ would have been real pissed. Let me tell you, if offensive coordinators had to vote, he would have been real pissed.
He wouldn't have been in the fucking top 5 if offensive coordinators were voting this year.
Ooh,
like it wouldn't even, because they weren't worried about him like that. Honestly, you saw teams do less on him this year than they did years before, which tells me they think he's declining.
They just left him on. I pointed out this stat to you earlier when we were arguing about this. There were two pass rushers who had over 15 sacks that had multiple unblocked sacks. It was TJ Watt and Khalil Mack, where they didn't even feel the need to even they were like, you know what, we'll get this play off before he get back there. That should let you know how they feel about you. We don't have to worry about you too much. We'll be okay. We'll still get accomplished what we need to get accomplished. The pass rusher on the opposite side of TJ Watt got double teamed more than him.
You know how I believes Myles Garrett is better than TJ Watt? Mike Tomlin, because he was the first one to be like, all right, we're going to snap this ball and run away from him. Like, immediately. He was remember he did that shit on Thursday Night Football? Myles had like just pressure after pressure. And he was like, all right, snap and run. Snap and run away from him. You know who's been on this for a while? John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh don't ever say less than 3 bodies at Myles Garrett. Like, the North knows. You know who knows this for sure? Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Ask Joe Burrow if he trying to hold it down for him. Like,
you ask Joe Burrow who deserved that award. He guarantee you.
Hey, look,
say TJ.
The Bengals have talked shit about our corners. They talk shit about everything but Myles Garrett. Okay, when Myles Garrett's name comes up, they say that shit with reverence. Okay. They say that shit with some respect. Okay.
You heard what Trevor Lawrence said after that Jags game? You heard what he said, right?
What'd he say?
He said, who? He went up to Myles. He was like, hey, man, I'm glad I'm not in your division.
He ain't say that to play TJ.
Hey, man, I'm glad I ain't got to see you twice a year.
Woo!
They be terrified. They are terrified of Myles, dog. Terrified.
And it's only gonna get worse. The older he gets and the younger these players get, it's gonna start to be, yes, that's Myles.
We got a super chat from Professor Chaos here that says, at least we know whose film Micah Parson watches to improve his game, because it's not TJ.
There you go. There you go. If you looked at the stats,
we forget Michael Parsons is significantly younger than Myles Garrett. He's like, nah, that's a GOAT, dog. What you mean? Like,
he was like, are y'all watching? I feel like y'all not watching.
Michael Parsons be like, he moves like me. And he's much bigger than me.
He's like 40 pounds heavier.
By the way, this is like Michael Parsons. This is Michael Parsons who challenged Tyreek Hill to a race. So, like, this is not somebody who does not believe in himself, who has a need to feel humble. Okay, like Michael Parsons is not the most humble person on earth. He openly said he think Jalen Hurts' his ass during the season when he still had to play the Eagles. This is not somebody who is real who is real humble about the things they say. And if he's humbling himself for Myles Garrett, hey, dog, that's different. I think TJ Watt's mad because don't nobody agree with him. Like that tweet to me was more about the fact that he was out here mad about it, and he would be complaining to his homies on the offensive line. Yeah, I can't believe they about to get this to Myles Garrett. And they like, yeah, like, you know, when your homie got some hot take that you don't really agree with, but you ain't trying to argue with the homie. Like, you just hit him with the ha.
Like, oh yeah, I feel you.
That's nuts. It's nuts.
That's crazy,
bro. Like, what? What? Bro, Myles is a different world.
He was complaining to the Steelers offensive line. He was like, hey, man, Myles over here beating the shit out of us, dog. What are you talking about?
Imagine he doing that stuff before you play the Browns, and they're like, dog, we gotta watch tape. Like, what are you doing? We not preparing to play against you, TJ. That's Myles.
We got
killers.
Another one here from Autistic Kid who says, 2 players on the Steelers have that the Browns don't have anywhere near in talent are Cam Hayward and Alex Highsmith. TJ just cleans up after them.
So
I mean, TJ's not just a cleanup artist. He's still a good player.
He's not a cleanup artist, but he does clean up. He does get a lot of cleanup sacks.
He benefits. His sack numbers are beneficial on what he has around him, which is fine, as long as we can observe that in context. Like Myles Garrett, his whole career has played with significantly less than TJ Watt. And Myles Garrett had help this year. And that help was so diabolical that halfway through the season, teams were like, you know what, dog? We'll just get hit by somebody else. Like, we cannot let him hit us. Like, this is how dominant Myles Garrett was. JOK is a Pro Bowler. And let me tell you, JOK might get 10 sacks next year, because teams are still going to be like, we're going to slide them 3 to Myles. I think the Browns had the best blitz success percentage. The Browns don't blitz that much, but they had 70% success rate when they blitzed. The second team was like 62% cold. That's a Myles Garrett stat, because you know how easy it becomes to blitz when 3 people are worried about one guy? Like,
hey, look, man. And Torres Lee said, man, the Browns need to make a splash on the defensive line to help Myles out. Man. Ooh.
I have a hot take about this.
What's a splash, though? I guess is my – what's a splash? What qualifies as a splash, I guess, is my thing.
Like, okay, if you get Chris Jones, that matters.
Oh, yeah, 100% that matters.
Here's the thing. Outside of Chris Jones, because everybody goes, well, we need somebody to stop teams from double teaming Myles Garrett. There is nobody on earth
I'm about to say
other than a clone of Myles Garrett that will get people to stop double teaming Myles Garrett. So I actually think defensive line help for him is a little bit counterproductive because you're getting one-on-ones, but teams are rolling and accounting for defensive line pressure so much that it kind of becomes hard for any defensive lineman to get pressure or sack or finish on the play when they're so worried about defensive line pressure because of Myles Garrett. I actually think JOK is going to be the guy who we're going to call the shimmer to his shine, right? Because you can move JOK around. JOK has great instincts, and I think having somebody who's malleable and not coming from that defensive line position is a better spot because then you could put him on top of Myles and get him and basically make offensive linemen make a choice. If you're going to double team and make sure he can't beat you outside, Myles can strip that rush lane super wide, and then you can send JOK, and that'll open up both lanes and make it a two-way go for Myles Garrett. Or if they super commit to Myles, you could just slip in a free gap for JOK. And I think JOK, Grant Delpit, pieces like that are going to be what picks up the slack in the sack production next to Myles Garrett, because I think that's a better fit. Now, Za'Darius is going to be important. I think a guy like Obo is going to be important, all of that. But I think that's really where you start to make teams pay is how you use your linebackers. And I think putting JOK at Mike, like what we saw with JOK versus the Houston Texans, where he was playing out of his mind. He was playing great. I don't want to take anything away from JOK, but those opportunities are there because teams are scared to death of Myles Garrett. And you can see what you can get out of JOK when you also have somebody like Myles there too to scare teams. And dog, if they get Chris Jones and JOK, hey, cancel everything I said about Pat Mahomes. We might beat him. Okay? Like, we might beat him. With Deshaun Watson, we be like, Deshaun, just live, dog. We don't give a fuck about what you do. We playing defense over here.
I guess the one thing I would like to see is I do think there's a need for them to bring in a guy who can get consistent interior pressure on the defense. Because I feel like they don't have that guy. I mean, Maurice Hurst was the closest thing they had, and I thought he had a decent
And when they lost him, it hurt. Right?
It hurt.
Because
I thought he had a really good
have that many Hellraisers on that interior, right? So I think that definitely did hurt him.
Yeah, and I honestly think they should bring Maurice back. More than like bring him back and just hope that he can stay healthy.
Bring Maurice back and get somebody who can get some pressure in that interior. And Chris Jones, if they get Chris Jones, hey man,
you like the second person who's floated them trying to get Chris Jones. I believe Corey was the other person. I think Corey was the other person who said they need to go get Chris.
It ain't just two people floating this out there. It's
inside information. Inside information.
I cannot confirm or deny that. But you know, it's something that I think the Browns will strongly consider. I'll just put it at that.
I wouldn't put it past Andrew Berry to do that at all.
Mm-hmm. What you need to watch for is to see if Chris Jones gets that long-term deal he wants. If he does not get that long-term deal, and they can sign it for Cleveland for one in the pop might be the thing he's gonna have to do. Right? Just keep an eye out on who doesn't get the long-term deal that they want. Because that's where Andrew Berry rubs his hands like Birdman.
Oh yeah, it's that time. It's that time.
By the way, Mike gets Za'Darius back on 6.2.
Ooh, less than 10? Less than 10?
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Watch it happen.
Greg will see all these dudes taking pay cuts and be a little upset.
We got Face Disabler with another super chat saying, Miles is this generation's LT.
Ooh.
Hey, look, when Miles gets inducted to the Hall of Fame, some offensive linemen are going to be standing up straight. It was like that. It'd be like that. And Randy got into the Hall of Fame. You gonna see Darrell Reeves just like, yeah, that's the GOAT. Couldn't do nothing with him.
Professor Chaos said Myles Garrett is the all might of edge rushers. Working the anime into the pod. I respect it. I'm also not disagreeing with you. We got some anime stuff coming down the line, y'all. We gonna get there. We gonna get there when we get there.
And on that note, that is it for QnCOLB today. We said we was gonna give you a tight 2, right? By the way, I do want to point out in my Pat Mahomes talking shit, I sent the text out at 8 o'clock when it wasn't looking good for Pat to call just for these. Did I not shoot? I was like, don't worry, it's Pat. And you was like, okay, here this motherfucker go. And then you had the nerve to send me some eyeballs when it was looking bad.
I just sent that eyeball like, hey, what's going on?
You was checking on me. Yeah, it didn't take long. I think right after you sent that eyeball, he threw that pass to me cold. I was like, now what you looking at? What you looking at now?
You said you still watching? I was like, hell no.
I just want to put it on. I literally sent that text. And I was like, I just want to be on record that I never wavered. Okay. I saw all of that failure at the beginning, and I was like, oh yeah, the comeback gonna be crazy. And then doubled down on it. It was like, yep, the comeback's crazy. I want to quote myself here, man. Okay, I just want to be on record. Oh yeah. Don't worry, it's Pat Mahomes. So at 8:01 p.m. Now check what the score was at 8:01 p.m. Wasn't looking good. Then I said right after Cole responded, I just want to be on record for what's about to happen. 8:23 p.m. I knew the results.
I'll never forgive Brock Purdy for this. Brock Purdy, you have
hey, look, man. They look at the comments when I did that rant. People like, Quincy's dick riding Pat Mahomes. He's as shameless, all this stuff. He don't know what he talking about. Is he not watching Chief? Bro don't know ball. See, they called me an idiot and a moron at the time that it happened, but now they say he was ahead of his time. It is what it is. Just respect it, y'all. Just respect it. Q don't have a good track record on quarterbacks. No. Okay, yeah, but I got a good track record on that. Yeah. Where are the people who are making those comments now? I just want to know, because Cole wasn't really the worst of it. Cole really knew what it was. He just wanted to make sure the pod was entertaining. But y'all was believing that dumb shit.
I
want to hear from y'all.
Don't be giving up the secrets of the pod.
I made you admit this on the pod.
Everything I say.
Cole meant it. He wanted it to be true. That's what Cole. He wanted it to be true, but I don't think he actually thought it would be true, right? Because not an inch in his body is surprised at what happened. He not shocked. He just mad because he knew it was happening and he couldn't do nothing to stop it. But some of y'all actually told me that I was dumb for telling y'all what was about to happen. I could have saved y'all a whole month of watching the playoffs. Y'all would have just listened to me. But you know what? Now they talk about Joe Burrow. We did this last year, dog. Oh man, Bengal fans talk about, oh yeah, wait till Joe Burrow gets back. Like we didn't watch the motherfucker lose to him last year. What are y'all on? Like they beat him one time and they gonna ride that one out to the end of their days. Like they George Foreman off that.
You know what's funny? They beat him one time and immediately lost in the Super Bowl, and they bring it up every single time. Like Pat hasn't won 2 Super Bowls since then.
They 500 against him in the playoffs. What the fuck are they bragging about? Like, they got patted too. By the way, it's Pat started because everybody was dick riding Joe Burrow coming into that conference championship game. Remember that? Oh, Joe Burrow was so excellent. He's so good. He's playing such good football. He's going to be this and that. He's just the new Tom Brady. And I don't know if the Chiefs have the firepower to go up to it. And I remember being like, are they talking about the Chiefs as if they don't got Pat Mahomes? It's Pat, y'all. He about to win this shit. And now we here. So Bengal fans, I don't even want to hear y'all talk y'all shit. Y'all lost to this man with Juju Smith-Schuster on the roster. Shut the fuck up, okay? Like, why is Pat Mahomes a back-to-back champion? Who did he beat to get to the back-to-back championship? Anybody want to tell me from Cincinnati how he was back? It ain't like he just won it this year when Joe Burrow was out. I feel like he won it last year.
Every time it was
Juju
a Joe name
Burrow
come
fun.
up, bro. Every time Juju Smith-Schuster name come up, I think about AB.
Hey, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Boo Boo Smith.
Boo Boo Smith-Schuster. You let Boo Boo do it to you. Boo Boo.
Oh, man.
Talk about, oh man, if Joe Burrow were here, it'd be different. Y'all finished 9-7. Shut the fuck up. Y'all didn't know. You don't get to talk shit. No, you don't get to talk shit about what you would have done. Woulda, shoulda, coulda, almost ass motherfuckers. That's what y'all are. Okay.
Hey, face the saber. Hey, he said, shout out to Kadarius Toney not playing the Super Bowl, so he couldn't fuck up the game.
He did what he needed to do.
Hey, 2-time Super Bowl champion, baby.
Hey man, I know Kadarius was sick watching that at home because that route, that's his route.
That's your route.
that be Cole. Yeah, that's his play.
That's your play. Hey, listen.
Hey,
still get the ring,
John
though?
Rivers, man. Like,
hey, John's cooked.
It's
John
over.
lost.
It's over, John. It's
McCole
over.
got you. McCole got you, bro. It is.
Delete that account, brother.
Hey, you better hope McCole don't spin a block and find that tweet.
Mm-hmm. You know, hey, look, hey, delete your account before McCole gets on that Super Bowl parade because he coming for you, dog. He has that shit bookmark. I guarantee it. Okay. Hey, you know during that parade is when all the bookmarks come out the athletes' phones. Like you find out who they had bookmarked. Remember they did it to Dominique Foxworth? Okay, bookmarked him from July. Like,
hey man, he hit the game winner too. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Delete your account.
Delete that account, John. Don't go out
that
like
account, brother.
Don't go out like that.
Account. If anybody can speak to, if you have any friends, family, or relative of John Rivers, he needs to delete that account, bro. Like, you know, at least till OTAs start, bro. Like, you know, just be a family man.
It's a 360 windmill. He been waiting to get off your mentions.
I saw that man quote. I saw somebody quote tweet him, and I forgot about that whole situation. And I was like, all I saw him say was, "My God." That is the
quotes.
That is the words of a man who knows it's over. Okay, like,
the people was in his mentions like, it's like, hey man, you had a good run. Oh my God. John's cooked, bro.
Hey man. Hey, these playoffs, outside of the Browns getting their ass beat the first round, pretty good for my agendas. You know, I got my Roquan in. You know, I got my Pat in. Like, I'm not going to lie to this. I'm coming away from it as a winner. Okay? The Cowboys lost in hilarious fashion. Baker threw an interception on the last drive. Like I've been telling y'all, that's the problem with Baker. Like, ooh, Deshaun, don't you dare ruin it next year, man. I swear to God, if you ruin it next year, Could you imagine Deshaun Watson throw a game-losing interception?
Oh man, we have to delete our accounts.
Hey, bro. Delete my accounts. I ain't been. Nope.
Absolutely.
Hey, look, first video gonna be up. How could the Browns get off of Deshaun Watson's contract? I've been preparing that one. I got that one. I got all the things I need to know. Okay. I've had the conversations.
The QnCOLB emergency pod is going crazy.
No, we can't have no emergency pod with you.
Oh,
you
yeah,
we talk about
We have to. We
gotta let Cole get 24 hours before and after a game because Cole be mad, dog.
Oh no, the people need that rant. The people need that one.
All we gonna see in the spaces is that the city of Cleveland should arrest Deshaun Watson.
Hey, get out my bag.
Hey, remember what you did to Joe Flacco, and then he came back like during the spaces.
People told me, hey, you got to do mid-game spaces now because every time you have a mid-game space, they come back.
Don't do that, Cole.
I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Oh man, we got a Bengal fan in here, man. He's like, I like.
Is he upset?
Going in on the Bengals like that, and he's like, Bengals finished their moment. It's not that. He's like, but a healthy Joe Burrow, the Bengals are a great team. Yeah, they're a great team. Yeah, they're a great team. They ain't being Pat no more. You got yours. Like, hey man, you had your shot, and you blew it. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's all like, look, this playoffs. It's over for 3 teams. The Bills. It's done. They have gone as far as they're going to go. Baltimore Ravens. It's right.
I'm not ready to say it's over yet.
It's a thing now. The playoffs thing is a thing. It's not going to get better.
Thing now. It's a thing now, but I'm not 100% ready.
It's a thing. It's a thing. And
49ers.
I think that's going to hurt them. And the 49ers, ooh, bro.
It's over.
It's rough.
No, the 49ers
it's over for now.
Over.
I do think they'll have another run with Brock Purdy. But they're going to have to wait like 2-3 years. They'll keep Kyle around.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, but they're going to have a couple years of 2-3 years of, less.
We talking about playoff things being a thing, the playoff thing being a thing. What, Kyle? Look, man. Hey, if it's a thing for the Ravens, it's absolutely a thing for the 49ers.
Look, I don't think that's a Kyle problem as much as Kyle's preference for mid at quarterback is a problem. Like, that's why I talk about, like, the reason his ceiling and floor, like, he does get credit for raising the floor on quarterbacks, but the issue with Kyle is that he kind of puts a ceiling on his quarterbacks because he prefers mid, right? Like, he doesn't prefer the talented guys. He doesn't prefer the ACC quarterbacks. He doesn't prefer the guys who could be game changers. He prefers game managers. And what he's seeing right now is the ceiling of having a game manager. Hey, you can do pretty damn good until you got to go up against one of them. And Pat's one of them. And unfortunately for you, the AFC is full of them. Like, so whoever comes out of it, you're going to have to beat one of them. And in the biggest games, in the biggest moments, that shit matters. It just does. Every once in a while, you get an outlier. But outliers don't happen every year, man. And that's the problem with Kyle is Kyle don't like game changers. He like game managers. And as long as that's his preference, that's going to be what keeps happening to him. Because Matt Ryan, stylistically, game manager. What happened? Like, same shit. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's not even good enough to be a game manager. But you know what? You managed him. Same thing happens. Brock Purdy, really good game manager. As good as a game manager he's had since Matt Ryan. Right? I think that's where Brock Purdy sits in that Matt Ryan tier. Right? Where Matt Ryan's a good quarterback. But you don't worry about Matt Ryan when you play everybody. Like, you worry about Julio Jones and all of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way we feel about Brock Purdy. It's the same thing, dog. It's the same thing. By the way, they really tried to, like, once Brock Purdy made this Super Bowl, as if the whole NFC was not full of game managers. People were really trying to go back on Cam and act like he was wrong.
Can we talk about that real quick? He was right. He was right. He was right. He's always been right. And people trying to bring up his performance in the Super Bowl to invalidate the fact that he was right about all the quarterbacks he criticized or evaluated or analyzed, however you want to say it.
He brings up a great point about this. Somehow people think the fact that he has experience playing in the Super Bowl makes him less qualified to talk about football than the people who have never played the NFL at all. It's the thing. It's like if you didn't play football, you didn't play NFL football, you still can have an opinion, of course. Like, everybody can have an opinion. But to invalidate his opinion because he played in the NFL is crazy. It's crazy.
And won an MVP, by the way. Like, he wasn't just some regular quarterback. He was really good. Really good.
What are you talking about? Like, he's Cam Newton. like, we don't even got to spot out his accomplishments. That's for somebody like Matt Ryan. You know he was an MVP before, right? Like you got to say Matt Ryan's accomplishments or Ryan Tannehill's accomplishments. You don't got to say Cam's accomplishments. We all saw it. Okay. Like, we watched it. We out here that's the thing that drove me nuts. It's like, why are we acting like Cam can't have a valid opinion about football? Like, why is Cam's take? Why was everything that we dissected about Cam's take anything but his take? It was like, oh, maybe Cam's bitter. Maybe Cam's this. It's like, maybe Cam just feel this way.
maybe Cam's just right.
Yeah.
Maybe Cam's just right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Now he also thought Malik Willis was going to be a game changer. So, he ain't right every time. But
nobody shoots 100% from the field. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what? He allowed to be wrong, just like everybody else allowed to be wrong. And that was the thing that drives me nuts when people get mad at a player for saying something. It's like, well, you didn't play well in the playoffs. It's like, motherfucker, did you play in the playoffs? Like, does it matter?
Also, we also ignored that he played against one of the best defenses ever. we never bring that up. We never bring that up ever.
And had Ted Ginn out there running routes like he's some kind of like he gonna change it. Like Cam out there getting his ass beat all game, and then Ted Ginn like, hey man, I got you. Like, he was like, I'm back at Auburn. Like,
I wonder what Cam would have done if he was playing with Christian McCaffrey and George.
Cam's accomplishment is this. I don't care if he won a Super Bowl or not. He brought the least talented college football team outside of him that I've ever seen to a national championship. It may be the least talented NFL team outside of him to a Super Bowl. That's what the peak of Cam is. Okay. The peak of Cam is like some 2018 Bron shit. Okay. Like, it wasn't long. The peak didn't last long, but boy, it was something. We was out here talking about Kelvin Benjamin like he was going to be the next big star. Man. When he was with Cam. Then Kelvin got too big for his britches, said he could do that with any quarterback, and then found out with any quarterback, he in the fucking CFL.
Hold on, we got another super chat real quick. Hugh, during the playoffs, you know that shit motherfucker said about Pat. They said they ain't gonna work. They crazy shit. Pat up the piano for us. That's a boy. That's a voice in the hood. Hey, shout out Professor Chaos.
that was a deep cut. I did not. That caught me off guard.
I'm about to go listen to Easy in the gym now, just because he said that. Hey, but I know we trying to keep it respectable this time with y'all time on the pod. We're trying to keep it respectable with y'all this time around. No 3.5 hours. You know what I'm saying?
We're not Gilbert Arenas.
Okay, we're trying to keep it respectable this time. Where we at?
Gilbert be having them 3-hour pods every day. I'll be like, damn.
Just imagine if we had a pod every day. It was 3 hours.
We would hate each other by the start of the season.
Absolutely. I can't stand this motherfucker.
Talk to this motherfucker. He gonna talk about Pat Mahomes. We're gonna be like Skip and Shannon at the end. Okay.
Oh man, but hey, shout out to everybody. Shout out to all the super chatters. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody who commented. If you didn't super chat, we still appreciate y'all. We still see y'all comments. We still talk about y'all comments. We still love y'all. Who we need to shout out, Q?
Shout out Greg, man. Greg, get up on stage, man.
Shout out
Greg. Man, any final takeaways before we head out?
I don't really got anything. Browns off season starts now, so go Browns. That's all I got.
Hey man, go Browns.
Shout out to Travis Kelce, doing it for the East Side.
Hey, shout out to Travis Kelce, Cleveland legend. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, tell me if you think this is right or wrong, but do you get the feeling that Travis Kelce yells out his area code when he gets into fights?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Area code and the side of the city. Like,
man. Somebody in the comments said Greg was cute. There you go, Greg. You know what I'm saying? There you go.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
I don't understand these kids, bro. I don't understand these children.
Could have had a super chat with it, but I guess,
Yeah, you're not that cute. They don't like to compliment you as much as they like to torture me over anime. But that's it for Q and Cole. Man, we got to work on that JP episode, huh?
Oh yeah, we gonna work on that JP episode.
Good for us, man. Like it's
hey, but just
for us. Like,
hey, just want to make sure y'all know we are on Spotify now. We are on Spotify now. Take us on the road with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Listen in the gym. Listen in the gym.
Listen in the gym. Listen in the car. Listen in the shower. Listen. Where else do people listen to podcasts? Listen at work when your boss ain't working, when you got the one AirPod in. Shout out to my fast food workers. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hey, put the headphone under the headset. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Hopefully
your boss is not watching. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully your boss is not watching.
Y'all bosses might be watching. It don't matter. They know they do the same shit too. Let me tell you something, dog. We all try to get out of there in 8. We just ain't trying to have to be forced to do it. You just can't be flagrant at the job. That's the thing. When you work one of them jobs, Cole, you can break the rules. Just don't be flagrant about it. Don't nobody care. This McDonald's, okay? I just want to
shout out to the pay. You know, shout out to our service workers. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to our service workers. They be telling us to shout them out. So shout out to the service workers.
And real talk, shout out to the service workers that work at Taco Bell, because I saw they got like a 3 for $12 special or some shit on their Cravens menu. Have you seen that commercial?
No, I have not.
Yeah, they just dropped the new $1 menu, dog. It's hey, look, pray for Taco Bell employees. It's about to be rough. And it's about to get that time of the year.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. I got a good shout out here. Before I had my current job, I worked at a Whole Foods, and I had to go in at 4 a.m. to get the whole deli set up. So if anyone's got to go into a grocery store at like 3 or 4 in the morning to get the food set up, shout out you guys. That job sucks.
By the way, shout out my Del Taco employees in Los Angeles and my El Pollo Loco employees. It's hell. Okay. It's legal out there and it's hard, dog. Ain't enough Taco Bells. There's barely any Taco Bells, especially living in the valley. There's like 3 Taco Bells in the valley, man. You gotta go to Del Taco. Del got what you want. You be mad as hell at the look, the Del Taco people, Jack in the Box. Okay. It's rough. It's rough.
Jack in the Box is crazy. I don't. People like in Cleveland don't know you can get a burger there. You can get tacos there. They got egg rolls.
You can get a burger, a sushi roll, and a fucking and a Slurpee. Jack in the Box, and that's you crazy. Get wings. You know how you get anything at rallies?
Yeah,
it's like that, but like drunker.
Is it like Cookout down south?
It ain't like Cookout. Cookout's like kind of focused on cookout stuff, right? But this is like rallies. Like, you know how you get a cheesecake, a milkshake, some wings, a burger, and some mozzarella sticks at rallies. I don't know. Don't ask me why I know this. Okay.
I have a good idea why you know this.
But it's the same way. It's the same way at Jack in the Box, except for you can get a burrito. Okay. And you can get salmon bites. like you don't ever want to go to Jack in the Box sober. Okay. Jack in the Box is not the kind of place you go sober. It really shouldn't be the type of place you go if you're not sober.
I went to their website. And the first thing they're advertising is this thing called the Cravings box, which is just a big box they put like all mixed together: popcorn, chicken, mini tacos, and curly fries.
They called it a craving box. They know who they're selling that shit to. Okay.
All right.
You can get some popcorn too. Can I get a side of popcorn? Just all kind of random shit you get at Jack in the Box. Dead serious. Yes.
Yeah, and it's never.
LA leads the country in most pointless fucking drive-through places that don't have drive-throughs. Because like half of these places don't even have drive-throughs in LA. Which is also an annoying thing about living in LA. One day, me and Greg could do a pod about all the annoying bullshit that you have to deal with living in LA. Because yeah, man, you know how Popeyes got drive-throughs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that don't happen up here. That don't happen in California, man. You don't get no Popeyes with no drive-through. You got to go in.
Yeah, when I first moved to LA, I was before I got a job or anything, I was just door dashing to make money here, and that was culture shock. That was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So many restaurants just like without like parking lots, or like you said, no drive-throughs of places that should have drive-throughs, or like there will be like 7 restaurants in one little lot that has the smallest parking lot you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, no, the little corner mall joints.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know about them corner mall joints? Yeah. 20 establishments, 7 spots. Mm-hmm. And by the way, yes, people are trying to park in those spots. Like, you got to turn in. There's only that lot, so it's on the corner of a road, and you have to turn in there, and you got to park somewhere. So a lot of times, you just get stuck if you park in the space because people just go in, go out, and people be flagrant about it. They will just go in and eat, like, and then come out with their flashers on the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
man. LA's a weird place. And like LA, I don't know because like LA proper, nobody actually like whenever anybody's talking about LA proper, they're never talking about LA proper. They're not talking about Santa Monica, or they're talking about Hollywood, or they're talking about the Valley. Right? Those 3 areas are really LA. Like DTLA, you know, you live in LA if you in DTLA for the most part. So it's when you in those parts of LA. Different world, man.
Shout out LA.
There's
shout out to LA.
There's a deli called Mike's Deli that's kind of by like a place I'm at a lot, and one of my like favorite sandwiches there. Every time I got to go in the parking lot for that deli, I feel like I'm in a war zone. Like it's terrible. And there's also like an auto zone in that parking lot too, so it's just like the worst, just congested, the worst ever.
You ever been to Slausson's?
I don't think so.
All right.
It's out there in Inglewood. It's the swap mall, swap meet. Slausson's swap meet.
Yeah, I haven't been there.
I had to go all the way down near Compton to get barbecue because there's not really that much barbecue.
I used to live in the South Bay. And the closest Jimmy John's to me was in Compton. And that's where I'd go to get my sandwiches. One time I was behind the line of a guy who worked on one of the Call of Duty games, and he just wouldn't stop like saying that to the cashiers while there were like there's like a line piling behind him of people just wanting to order their sandwiches, and he had to like show off his Call of Duty tattoos. Like nobody cared. He just wouldn't stop going.
Yes. Look, LA is a big city without the benefits of living in a big city. It's wild. It's wild. It's wild. You live in a big city and you still driving 20 minutes to a Chick-fil-A is nuts to me. Like, it's nuts. That's how it is. It's how it is. The only thing that's going to be in close proximity to you in LA are gas stations, 7-Elevens, and Trader fucking Joe's. Maybe a Target if you're in the Valley. Okay? Like, those are the only things that will be convenient to you. Everything else in LA, very hard to get to. Very hard to get to.
My buddy from Cleveland actually came up for the Browns-Rams game. And I live in the Valley. And we were trying to like figure out if we could just take public transport down to SoFi Stadium. And,
the SoFi?
Yeah. I was trying to see if I could like maybe like I drive us to a train station and then we get on a train. You would have 2 hours.
You would have to take the bus line all the way to the 405, take the train that takes you from the 405 there, take that train all the way to DTLA, take the DTLA train, which is miles away from where you're trying to go to, take that all the way to maybe Hollywood Boulevard, and then catch a series of buses to get to the south side to another train station that then connects you to Anaheim.
Yeah, we just Ubered.
Yeah. And that Uber probably cost $80. God help you on the Uber back. Okay. Like, I know that was tough. Oh my God. But
yeah, it was tough.
Yeah, so that's our talk about LA here. Look, man, unless you got to live there, dog, I wouldn't recommend it. Like, I really wouldn't. Like, there are careers that you have to be out there for, and that makes sense. But unless you got to be out there, hey, man, I like Atlanta, Georgia.
Well, I like Atlanta, Georgia too.
You know, it's
I like Cleveland. I like Cleveland.
Some people like Cleveland too. Like, I like Cleveland. It's fine. You know, if you want a bigger city, there's some bigger cities you could go to. But yeah, LA would not be my first destination. It was my first out of college, and I was like, ooh, man. One, you need to make some bread to be comfortable in LA. And two, what you think is bread is not bread in LA. I knew somebody who worked with me in LA that was at Starbucks, full-time therapist. Yes, practicing.
That's crazy.
Had to take morning shifts at Starbucks to make it work.
That's insane.
Yes.
If you're a licensed therapist and you're practicing and you still not making enough money to live, you got to leave that city, dog.
Yes.
Like, leave the city, go somewhere else.
You know what the mistake homegirl made? She was like, well, they offered me this much, and that's the most offered that I got. So I would just work here in LA. Hey,
you ain't thinking about how much it costs
in Kansas go longer than that 70 like in LA.
I'm telling you. That money go stretch so much farther somewhere else.
I'm like, baby, that's just rent. Okay. But that has been Q. You know what we got to do? We got to paywall the last 20 minutes. That's what we should do to the people.
We're not gonna do that to the people. They stick with us through everything. We're not gonna do that to the people, man.
It's gonna be the real dirt. But that's it for QnCOLB. Y'all have a great day. Motherfuckers gonna be okay. Yeah, y'all have a great day. Have you better night. Cope, you got anything less to say?
Hey man, shout out to the people. If you want to listen to us,
you know what, Cole? I demand it. Cole. Say it's Pat. Say it's Pat, man.
So y'all have a wonderful night.
Just give me an it's Pat one time. Just, you know, do that for the homie. Come on. Yeah, do that for the homie. Give me an it's Pat.
They said don't say it. I ain't saying it.
No, come on, Cole. Just do it for the homie. Come on. No, give me an it's Pat. Come on, it's Pat. Come on, give me one. Give me one.
Greatest of his generation. Respect.
Mm-hmm. See, look, they saying don't hate Cole. Come on, admit it. No, it's Pat. It's Pat. Say it.
I was wrong. That's the most you
go. What happened in that game? What happened in that game, man? Just say it's Pat.
Great quarterback. Phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I got a couple off on him too because I hit him with the Jared Goff respect him tweet.
You got me with that one. You got me with that one.
I couldn't wait to get that one off. Had that one in the drafts. I was like, yeah, it's time.
I was like, okay. Say it.
Had to make the Michael B. Jordan face. Like, all right.
You got me. You got me this time. Don't worry though. I'm gonna get mine.
Mm-hmm. One day you'll get yours, which you know. Today and this year was my year. So I expect Greg to make up a championship title for me to wear all next season. Like the undisputed champion of takes. I expect that title to be made. You know, maybe we get real leather, real gold. You know, but y'all have a great day. We can use Colb's half of the paycheck to pay for it. You know,
I don't know about that one.
Since he don't want to say it's Pat, but y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.